For the overall market, we are looking at individual names, still the main focus of the day. If you are paying attention to the overall market, about a quarter of a percent right now, high for the NASDAQ. Downside, meanwhile, exactly the same, negative, about a quarter of a percent for the S&P. This is crude oil, still 1.3% on the way back down, though. We top out at 88 bucks at the high there this morning. That was a 10-month high for crude on the back of this Saudi headline this morning. If you missed it, Saudi Arabia came out and said they were going to extend this current 1 million barrel per day production cut through to the end of the year. But back to the downside we go right now. I mean, still a really nice day for oil itself and also for individual energy names to the tune of about 0.75 right now. That's well off the highs. In fact, for XOM, CVX 1.5%, MRO still 1.5% to the upside. But you can see a lot of red on this board now, specifically in the consumer area of things, both retail and consumer durable names, all to the downside. 1+% for Coke, P&G, for Nike, for a lot of the retailers, Home Depot, Walmart, TJX, all downside. Costco holding on to positive territory, but only just. We were speaking of some strength in this group to end the week back on Friday. Visa and MasterCard both back to the downside again today. Notably strong down here, the health services sector of the market. UNH having a nice day, 1.6% to the upside. Some of the pharmaceutical names back in positive territory, but we're keeping an eye on all things tech, rightfully so, as you see Microsoft still 1.5%, Meta 1.5%, Oracle, a really nice day, 2.3%. Same story for Netflix, Google, NVIDIA, Apple, meanwhile, all pretty much flat to kick things off. Hope your afternoon is off to a pretty good start here. We'll jump into a couple of things that we were discussing. If you're with us in the pre-market this morning, we did get some PMI data out overnight. If you were with us in the first hour, we touched on it very, very early this morning. Chinese PMI data comes out lower than expected. That had all of the Chinese ADRs downside. Here's Alibaba back to flat after it did go positive initially this morning. We come back in and have done, let's face it, basically nothing throughout the entire day for Alibaba. Some of the other individual names, though, EV related specifically, a little bit better off possibly today, guys.
Beast in the EV space, but if you're looking at what happened this morning on the Chinese EV, the only one that I ended up trading was XPeng, and that's just because you get really lucky. Like we kind of missed the bag on a lot of the ADRs on Friday when they had that crazy run in the morning, and XPeng went to 20 bucks. I was like, if it happens again, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it this time and wait around for it. It did happen again, so we did short XPeng. It's right back to it looks like this crazy. It's almost the same move as Friday. And Friday it went from 18 to 20 and then all the way back in here to 18.5. Today it went from 18.5 to almost 20 and then right back into 18.5 essentially. So you have to be patient for something like this because you're really going against the grain as it's screaming to the upside. But as long as it didn't break the 20 level, we were just looking for the one shot, which was to short the name. I don't think these ADRs are going to have an afternoon trade for us. You're essentially doing nothing for 30 minutes off a low. So you kind of take the money and run there. If you were watching Alibaba, I suppose you could have done this in a lot of places. If you're watching Alibaba, spike at the open and gave everything back, this is actually looking relatively strong. So throughout something like an XPeng, if I was looking at one of the Chinese ADRs, BABA has been trending slightly to the upside and might regain going positive on the day. Were that to happen, there's at least a potential trade there for Alibaba. But you know, we waited around for XPeng, we got the short in it. That was pretty much it. There's nothing else to see. In terms of the overall Chinese weakness, as I just showed, Alibaba actually has a shot to get positive on the session, despite the fact that everything sold off the 930 move that was a Chinese ADR.
Shout out to my guy here. DH grabs money bag on the slots. So that's
you can win.
Nice. Oh yeah, I won a couple times last week. I won.
You won?
Yeah,
oh
I think I got rocket ship,
nice.
And it was, I think it was
I've never won.
I always bet 50. Was it 10 to 1? It could have been a 10 to 1.
That's sweet.
Might have got 500 on that one. Yeah, I'm short everything. So whether or not China's strong or weak, we're short all of the tech, everything right now. So I don't have anything. I mean, we could talk about Google. I mean, we had a great trade on Boeing up here, 224 out, giving you that dollar club play down to 223 where VWAP is. But I don't know, a name that I did not hear Neil talk about too much was NEO. We gave that level down here at 1025. That didn't come in. The best we got to was 1070. I feel like this name's relatively strong. It's not, but it didn't really dip off of this 1075 level, so we'll see. But yeah, a lot of barcode action, man. I'm going to stick where we are right here. We've really hit AMC again to the short side. I mean, this is the #1 name by far here today, and we got it in again right now, AMC. So yeah, I'm just going to be short everything. I don't want to waste too much breath on China. I'm not in it. Oh, the one thing I will say though is this is what I'm looking at for China. And we'll talk about this tonight. We have Michael Noss coming through at the after party there at 4 o'clock. 4 to 4:30, join me. We'll talk all about FXI. This is a level that I like here, $30. So we talked about it coming to the bottom at 26, then up to the top again near $30. So it's stuck in the middle right now, but this is an ETF that I'm keeping my eye on. FXI, large cap Chinese names over there, guys.
All right, let's go on to Airbnb as we saw it today. One of the strongest, not only individually, but throughout the entire market today. Back to the upside right now, in fact, for Airbnb. One of my charts is not updating for some reason, but nice looking daily chart anyways on this gap higher. It's going into the S&P if you missed it this morning as of September 18th, along with BlackRock. Newell Brands, and there was one more, I'll look it up, but Newell Brands was one of the ones that are coming out.
I forget which ones. Yeah, good call there, Brendo. Look, I was involved in on the midday. It's a bit of a top here at 143.5. You want to have a look at the chart. 144.26 was the high. But yeah, there's another headline with respect to this. Looks like New York City wants to ban these short duration stays. We'll have to see how that works. But they definitely don't have an issue with respect to demand. On the last conference call, Brian Chesky, the chief executive, saying that nights and experiences booked increased 11% in Q2 compared to a year ago. So people still wanting Airbnb experiences.
Yeah, I know there's a few cities in the Greater Toronto area that have been playing around with that as well. It's Lincoln National. So Lincoln National and Newell Brands coming out. Blackstone and ABNB guys going in.
Yeah, and like we're saying, I think you can start to maybe look for at the close, maybe next week or so, Airbnb might see it show up on the bounce look. I'm not really expecting that today, although it is up 8%. I'm glad Sharif traded it because I thought we were going to gap fill. I was pretty bearish this morning, and what can happen is if you get a little bit bearish, and there were great shorting opportunities, individual names, but if you get bearish, sometimes the stock that you like long, you're really thinking dip buy because maybe it tries to fill in the gap, and that's where my head was at with Airbnb. So it never tried to fill in the gap. That meant no long in front of 136. My daily has got no data in it, so I'm just going to quickly, just to finish the thought on Airbnb from this morning, because I think you want to play the trend here, and just to show you on the daily, the reason I like 136, it was a 50 period on the daily. I think now that you're breaking and holding above 140, as long as this stock is above 140, look long till 150 to 155, right? So that's the next resistance on the daily. You can sort of see it on the weekly as well. I think it has a chance to get there. Doesn't really take much for it to go another $10 to $12 in the next couple of days. So just don't fight the trend on this. As long as it's above 140, I'll come in tomorrow. If I see a trade, hopefully it would be to the long side. It looks like it's going to get to that high of the day. If the market shows any signs of strength, this is one that has a chance to break out its top currently today. Don't really see a trade this afternoon. I would suppose maybe it could fail a break of the high and be like a 145, like mean reversion play, because that would be exactly 10% up. Cross that bridge if we get there. Maybe the futures are at the high of the day if you got to a 145. That could be always be in the back pocket. One thing, though, it did reload some Amazon. That's at 137. Are we going to talk big tech? I guess we're going to, but at some point, this is going to break 137, and it could be here. It's been holding the line pretty well. There's a decent chance it could happen. And then one other one, I'm in it, but it's about to make another move up, and it could be a bit of a reverse. That NVOS got to 35 here, but it just wicked the top at 35 cents. And if this is the pullback, I'm now down to less than 10% on this position. That last push was kind of like the money fills. And if it were to pull back now, I don't think I want this getting underneath 30 cents again. So I got a trailing stop on this one. I don't see a place that I want to add to it on that NVOS. The story here is, are the futures going to make a lower high or not? And that's, to me, Amazon's going to resolve itself in the next few seconds, or a few minutes, I guess, off that 137. Either we're bouncing off it again, or maybe the futures have enough strength.
Yeah, we've been short Amazon all day at this level, so we just got more short right now. We've been doing well. We've been doing well on the short. We obviously hit it short here as well. So Amazon's a big stock for me today. Pretty easy on some of those levels there. Airbnb, Neil just talked about it, so I shall pass. Boeing, well, I mean, look, it's the #1 name on the list, and it says long, so we should be long. It's at the high of the day. We should be long. But we are not, so that sucks. But right here, Boeing 224, since we're talking about a little bit of travel, it's come up here a couple times. It was here first thing in the morning. It came again, and boom goes the dynamite. Thanks to Michael Noss, everybody retweeting that one on Twitter as well. A slow crawl right now, Tilray. So we're long at 306 right now. So hopefully this will continue to climb to the upside. We took something out at 10s, 11s, 12s. Let's see if it continues to make a little bit of sense there. And here we go, man. Let's just keep on ringing the register for Amazon here, right? And so again, I'm using bigger shares, trying to short it here and scalping it out. So if you're gonna see like a bunch of outs, it's because we're taking profits on those levels. Google just broke out. So again, short, only one out right there, gone. So Gonzino on Google there. Short early, which was fine, but right now, Google just broke out. We fought it there, eventually to the downside, and then it just broke out right now. So Gonzino on that one. And then right now, we have very little shares here on AMD because this is going to be one that we're going to talk about in a minute because we're talking about chips. So let's go back over to the desk, then we'll go over what I'm going to do here with AMD.
Yeah, let's talk some chips here. We were wondering this morning, a couple of minor headlines, one for Intel, another one, a little more details on this ARM, SoftBank coming to market with ARM. $47 to $51 per ADS is just because it's going to be coming out of China. 95.5 million ADS is going to come to market, which is, as you noted, about 10% of the company.
Yeah, it's a good look, and I actually had to Google the difference between ADS and ADR this morning. If anybody's interested, Investopedia is a very good description, so make sure to Google that. But the other side of the semiconductor play here is this Intel and Tower semiconductor deal which sees Tower investing $300 million into Intel's New Mexico facility. You'll recall that these companies were supposed to merge in August. The deal was supposed to be about $5.4 billion, but it fell through as it wasn't able to get approval from the regulator in China, so they're just going to do an investment deal, I guess.
Just be aware, AMD guy, just taking out the highs here, I'm just hearing again, they are presenting at this Goldman Sachs conference this afternoon, along with Intel and along with NVIDIA as well. So NVIDIA, I believe, is 325, so it'll be right in the last hour. We'll touch on that. Maybe we get some headlines from them, but AMD obviously popped up earlier on that same thing, along with Micron. Again, the Goldman Sachs Technology Conference is actually running throughout the entire week, but all of these starting things off on Tuesday, guys.
Okay, I'll let you get to AMD in a second. Micron was the first one of these to move. At least, I mean, yeah, it was the first one to present at this conference, I think, and there was a news item that came out. It broke out. It got 271, it was pretty much 71 on the dime the first time through. I actually had one short in this on the way back in, and then it broke back out. It's rejected 71 a second time. So I think the fade on this name, they've already, again, the newsline stories have already come out for them. We're just waiting on Intel and NVIDIA at that conference this afternoon. But I like Micron off of this 71. If the futures aren't taking out the high and the NASDAQ isn't taking out the high, then I know that 71 is still in play for Micron. But the chip names, everything was actually looking pretty good. And then that Micron story hit at about 11:45, the first headline coming from that conference. And this moved like a dollar. Everything jumped that was in the chip space. And it was one of those situations where there's not much you can do. Like it happened, and now these are all kind of trending upside.
Yeah, so we got, I tweeted this out here and I was like, not an algo, because, we were really doing a lot of damage on AMD here, shorting this 109, until it wasn't. And then all of a sudden, in one candle, you went up about $1.50 or more. So I just kept shorting it, taking cuts until eventually we got the top and brought it all the way back down, making about $1.80 or so on some of them, then getting it up, and we just now reshorted this name. So it's been a wild ride here for AMD. And I mean, if you're going to talk about some levels, obviously I was caught off guard. I didn't realize that there was any of these conferences happening. Well, realized the conferences were happening, but didn't really think about the impact that it could have had. And I know you're talking about your AMD chart, and mine has stopped on the 29th. So right there, but 111.50 right there, that's been the high. So that's basically what I'm shorting off of, right? So let's just keep on going. And again, like I said, it's hard for you guys, to look at Neil and I's trades or your own trades and be like, too many outs or not enough outs or this or that. If you have a certain amount of shares up there and it goes in the money 30 cents for you, sometimes you take that. So everyone, that's what I'm saying to everybody is like, you got to trade your own, and if you think that there's big moves incoming, then don't scalp it out. But here we go, like my stop is right there, so there, now I'm out, right? And so sometimes when you're counter trading and against the trend like AMD is right now, you got to take little quick hits, and that's what we did all the way up. It saved us and able to catch that move on the way down. But as you can see now, AMD starting to go back to the upside. So I'm going to stay away from this. I don't like the fact that all this is happening right now, and kind of trading a little bit blind. Obviously, it's great that Brendan has it in his ear right there, but the last thing we need is Lisa Su to come out here and start talking about her H1 chip, right? And then the next thing you know, boom, AMD still the upside. Because it just takes a couple seconds for them to leak like, oh, we already saw, like for example, when NVIDIA and Google made that announcement last week, we saw Google rip straight to the upside and we caught like $6 or $7 on that trade. So this could happen right now again with one of these names. So I'm going to stay away. Like, look how excited this is getting right now. Nice volume coming into AMD here. You can see like, where did that volume come from? The short is fine as it's just cruising. And then all of a sudden, boom, right? So obviously there's something happening behind the doors here, and I don't have enough information. So I'm going to stay away from AMD right now. This Cannabis is not on there, but we will talk about some of that as we get back. Is it still 30% off trade ideas? Because if so, you guys should take advantage.
I think
until the end of day today, in fact, from Mr. Noss. Yeah, take advantage, definitely. 30%, why not? I'll keep an eye out here. I'm not seeing anything new right now for AMD specifically, but again, Intel to come this afternoon, NVIDIA to come at this Goldman Sachs event as well. So yeah, chips in focus, definitely. We were talking this morning about how some of these big tech names were lagging the overall market move. Here was Apple down here in the pre-market. We're basically back to positive and then some now for Apple, but nothing in the way of significant news anyways for this group today ahead of the big Apple event to come. Is that next week already?
September 13th?
The 12th? Yeah, the 12th. Tuesday is the Apple event, and then CPI on Wednesday.
So here's what I see, and this is big tech related, but seldom do you see the 10-year at day's high when big tech is at day's high as well. I mean, usually they're very much a diverging group. 2.11% for the 10-year, Brendo at 4.25 right now. And just look at Tesla as an example. We're breaking through highs, making new highs at 257. So I don't know what's going on if the world's turning upside down. But yeah, the 10-year at day's highs and big tech at day's highs too.
Yeah, we're supposed to have Frank Caberna come through this afternoon. I haven't heard from Frank. Frank, if you're watching. Let's talk about some yields, shall we? But yeah, here's all of these stocks reversing big time here today, guys.
Yeah, come on, Frank. What's going on here? No, I'm sure he's like
wow,
he's butter, man. He's always there for us. I don't know what to tell you because when you look at that, what Sharif was just mentioning with yields, it is the Nasdaq's at highs. It is so tempting to just look for something. Obviously, I mean, still Amazon. We talked about 137. It's tempting to find anything at the high in big tech and say, well, that doesn't make sense. We should be shorting these highs then, and then trying to scalp them. Meta, I did have a long in Meta. I want to point out this is up 1.5%. It's stronger than the overall market. Microsoft fits into this bucket as well. So there's a couple of names that are relatively strong. If this gets through the high, and again, if you look at last week, like this 301.5, essentially where the top is right now, that's a pretty big wall. Maybe you can call it 302. But if Meta gets through this today and we buck this trend and end up with a 1% day, there's got to be a Meta long for me. Like if the NASDAQ gets to 1% and I have not gotten back into Meta long, then I've done something horribly wrong. But if this breaks 302, I'm just going to be in it. So 302 break, I had the 99 break and did not hold on to it. We just scalped it out. Now I'm sort of looking at that 300 level. Maybe there's that, maybe there's VWAP, but this is a name I want to be long. As long as Amazon holds 137, I think that can be shorter. But like, look at how many times at some point this can break. It hasn't gone past 137.05. If it does, I want to get out. I like Meta for strength. I like Microsoft for strength. This at least, Amazon, down almost 1% as the market is up, right? So play relative strength and weakness. If you're not doing that in this market, then today's an absolute mess because you can't trade these big tech names as a group anymore. It's just not how they're behaving on a day-to-day basis, right? There's always one or two that are strong, there's one or two that are weak, and you've got to make sure that you're shorting the weak ones if you're trading them, and you're going long in the ones that are strong. Just not enough long positions in something like a Meta for me today. I haven't even traded Microsoft, and that's been a golden long if you have it. So got to try to rectify that. If we do break the highs, Meta's the one I like the most.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Amazon's been cash cow today for me. So that's for as far as big tech, this is going to be, you know, we shorted 137 a lot earlier than right now, but we are back in it. It's just, yeah, the market is definitely doing this, right? So that's, I felt a lot more comfortable when the market was red, shorting a weak name. And again, you can follow it at TraderTV Sean. I mean, we wrote down this Amazon short here at 8 o'clock. So hopefully it will continue in as it's trying to go right now. But we just took Tesla. Oh, Tesla's next. We just took that long and took 20 cents, hoping to get more, obviously, on this Tesla long. Big tech. Okay, so what else? We hit Apple early, but it was just a short until we realized it was strong, got out of the way. Now look what Apple's trying to do, go higher and higher and higher. So no surprise there, but still a positive name for us. Other than that, yeah, well, AMD, we talked about the chip names. Boeing's not really a tech name. So, all right, let's throw it back, and that'll let me talk about Tesla in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I was looking at more in-depth pictures of this new Highland or whatever it's called version of the Model 3 that we showed last week. The more I see it, the more I like it.
Yeah, me too.
It's a subtle change, but it's enough of a change that it's not what it used to be, and it's more appealing anyways for me. What a day for Tesla. There really wasn't much outside of manufacturing numbers out of China this morning for Tesla, but what a day for this thing, straight to the upside.
Yeah, and I watched a thorough review on YouTube over the weekend about the new Model 3. It's quieter. They put different tires on there. It's got the same acceleration, but a lower top speed. They're figuring, you know, why do you need to do all this speed for if it's prohibited in most countries outside of Germany anyway? But let's talk a little bit about how they did today, month over month and year over year at their China deliveries. 30% year over year in terms of what they delivered in August for China. 9.8% month over month versus what they delivered in July. So it's a good look for them, but we know their margins continue to contract.
To put it in perspective a little bit, we have to remember what happened on Friday, obviously. Friday was a big down day, so we're almost back. I was just noticing here to, essentially we are back to where we started on Friday morning. So erase the day essentially on Friday, but nice look here for Tesla, guys.
All right, I'm trying to get some more out of Tilray, but yeah, we just went, we finally just right now, I was like, if the market's gonna go up, we got stopped out of Google, and we're short obviously in Amazon, and we talked about that, and that's been going really well. So I just said, you know what, let's just break the top, and you gave the level there of 257, we're just kind of coming back into that level. So we had already been here at noon, and then faded out into 255. It only went down a buck, or about $1.50 or so, and now you're trying to take it out. So I like the story there. It's too bad. Obviously, it's too bad that we didn't get long earlier off this break right here, 244. That would have been good. But we'll just take the long now. I mean, there's 260. Feels like we could get to there at some point today. You know, especially if this market continues to fly. It's up 4 or 5% now. There it goes. Okay, so now it retook 257, so that's good right there. Look, man, all things are fine in Tesla land apparently, right? So all that, it's funny because I was telling my wife the other day as well, I was like, this Elon God mode, like I can't believe that they're actually like putting out, you know, these pieces on this, like, there's going to be modes that exist and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, it's a nice move up, and I sort of, everyone forgot about that, I guess. There it goes. We're only in the money an amazing 20 cents. I wanted to at least take something out if it gets back up here into 25 again. So that's the high of the day. We actually have 20s out. The high is 23. We're long right here at 257 flat. So hopefully that will come through. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, I like this play. And where am I going to get out if we break that back down through 256? I want to average into this. Let's just see. The futures right now are trying to have, a little date with its past highs here. If it's successful, we'll break it. If not, obviously it's a fallback in right now. So we've been scalping out of some of these Amazon trades here, and I don't really want to do the same with Tesla. I'd rather hold it. But look at it. It can't go past 257. Now, part of me is thinking that I need to take something out maybe right now just for flat. Maybe take out 10%. I don't know. I didn't want to go there. The thing is I do have more shares in Amazon, obviously, as a $300, $250 name versus a $137 name. But I don't really want to scalp anything anymore. So let's just continue to stay strong and hold on to this Tesla trade and see where we go from here.
Just quickly, I know we're just going to finish up the rundown in a second, but my daily chart wasn't working on Micron. We brought it up. Micron just broke the top, so it's a new fresh high of the day, or is it? Close enough to it. But if you look at it on the daily, there's still some room above here. This is 71, which we just broke. Next level up is 72. I think we did mention this during Lunch Money, but there's still $1 that this could go higher before you get to that next level up. So Micron continuing to show a lot of strength. It just kind of wicked the top there. If it holds out at 71, remember, we'll have our ears to the ground for anything that's coming out of that Goldman conference, right? But for now, these things are trying to break out. A new fresh high just got put on Micron. Always a chance it could be a wick top in there. Want to be able to respect that. Well, I think we got to finish up at the desk in a second. Yeah, we'll go up to the desk for trade ideas and then come right back and talk at least a little bit about cannabis.
As we were mentioning, guys, yes, until the end of day today, take advantage of this. Go right now, Trader TV 30, get you 30% off. Shout out to Michael Nosh, just confirming over lunchtime that it is still available. For anyone that missed it over the weekend, great opportunity. The new web version included in that as well. You can get a free trial for that. Data, charts, all included. Go check it out. Shout out to our friends over at Trader TV 30. Trade ideas, use the promo code though, Trader TV 30, guys.
Yes, sir. And as promised, I'm in CGC. Obviously, Tilray, the entire group. I mean, whether you want to look at the ETF, whether you want to look at CGC, Tilray, it doesn't really matter. They all are moving here today. I'm out of the Tilray trade, and I pivoted over to CGC. We'll see if it ends up working out. It might not matter. It broke that 320. It got to 340. I did hold on to some and then trailed out on a reef break even. It just, at the time, after I got trailed out, I went over and saw how relatively strong CGC was. And hit enter 3 times. And then this on the way back into like 65. I was like, okay, this is the previous high. This is the flag I want long into it. If it holds on to 65 and all arrows upside, like this is what it looks like if it can break back out above 70. Like this feels like it's a potential, like one of those runs to $1 type of moves. And as long as it's close, I want to give it a multiple chances, I think. Above 65, I want to have this. If it doesn't hold 65 today, and then tomorrow it's breaking 70, I probably want the 70 break tomorrow because it just feels as if with a 7% short float and this nice little catalyst that this has a decent chance to make some kind of a run at $1, which it hasn't been able to do in quite some time, obviously. So this pivot to me is from Tilray to CGC. Oh, there goes Amazon. Amazon just broke the local high, so I'm out of it. That last time was not a charm on Amazon. So Amazon's now trying to break out, it looks like. Market's taking out the highs. I'm probably going to get triggered into Meta breaking the high of the day at some point soon.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we'll just go money because at least we're making some of it on Tesla there. We did. And, I want to show you. Remember we were talking about scalping out of Amazon, right? And I mean, like I said, still the number 2 name for me. Obviously, my number 1 name's AMC. We've sort of talked about that. But I just scalped more out there. I just got some more out of 89 before there's the break right there for about a 10-cent hit. We'll see where it goes from here. We got a 40 right there, a 37 or 38, something like that. So hopefully that can come into play again here for us on Tesla as we're starting to go back up to the upside. So I feel like that was a good idea, at least temporarily there, for Tesla. So let's see if it can continue to make a little bit of money here on the downside for that play. Other than that, yeah, not much else going down right now. But what is up in smoke, it seems like it anyways today, is going to be Cannabis names. Nice move. I didn't realize that this MSOX is a double when MSOS is a single. So,
I didn't, yeah.
Yeah, so 2.5 up to 6, and then you get MSOS, which is just the straight play. So you get 17% on this one, and should be 34% on this name. So probably I'll switch over to this. But the thing is that look at the liquidity. So again, you're just gonna have to be careful, and if you want to trade bigger share sizes, then maybe MSOS is a little bit better because you can control sort of by the spread. And again, for us here on a prop floor, it's like if you have the buying power like I do, I'm just double my shares to take the same return, right? So it's like if you take 1,000 shares for 10 pennies on this name, it's the same as taking 500 shares on this name for maybe 20 pennies. So you just have a different sort of risk to reward level, or vice versa, the other way, sorry, they reverse the math on that for it to work out. So that's something that you have to consider when you are looking at these ETFs, right? You know, the liquidity that's here, and sort of the word that we like to talk about is slippage. So the kind of slippage that you'd have in a name like that, MSOS would be a lot less than possibly in this. Because if you said, oh, I want to get out if it breaks 610, well, I mean, you just get one dark pool print at 610. The next thing you know, it's punching you out at 13. Meanwhile, maybe you could have had the bid at 05. So a little bit of a difference there. All right, so that was that one. Just to talk about another position that we have in Boeing. I like Boeing. It's just this 224 right here has come up into play. So I saw that come through. I shorted it. So it's pretty simple there. We tweeted it out. There's Boeing on the short. Boom. So, you know, now we can't be red on this name. If it does break above, we're just using these levels. So we break above. This is like, and again, you want to talk about risk to reward, you know, short at 84, out at 10s, 25 cents to make a buck. Hopefully we can hold this and it can come back down if and when the market starts to retrace. I mean, again, it's a nice move down, man. We just, again, wicked the tops at almost 15.6 and then fell. So it's all good. We got out of some Tesla there. We'll see where it goes. Our best out is 30 or 40. It's nice to have some topside outs. But again, it does also, of course, Amazon now retracing back down, does feel good to be with the trend at least, right? And so Tesla hopefully can continue that move to the upside there. Tilray, I feel like this trade might go up in smoke, and I know the bad puns, but it's just every single time you get a move like this, you get a move, seems like this. So we took a very small trade there at 12s, and then got the average down in here at 6. So, you know, it's been good. It's a positive name. We're up on this name. But look at the 200 period. Should have got them all out at 12s, but realistically, I thought there was a chance to go. So, you know, this is sort of the...
It's going like CGC is going sideways on it too.
I don't think it's going to work out, man.
There's squeeze-ish type
names. What is
names.
that, 304? I'm going to get out at 3 break.
You never really know. I just felt like I went over from one to the other, and it's kind of the same result. Like, it wouldn't have mattered what I did. I'm into UAL. We should probably get the UAL story. UAL had like a computer issue, had to ground a bunch of flights. That was right at about 115. You can see the move to the downside. I had the first consolidation short, was getting some profit in there, then it broke back up. It showed you the lower high. So when the news came out, it was at 48.60. It then put in this resistance at 48.50. It just wicked the same level. A lot of people were talking about this one in the chat. We were going back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I think I want to take another shot at this. When it comes to flash news, a lot of times whenever it traces the move, if the news is bad, I like shorting that same high where it started from. The idea being, is it going to go back and be better than it was before when there was legitimately negative news here? So I am shorting UAL. Take some out in front of VWAP if we get it. The other one I wanted to get to was Digital Brands withdrew a private placement. They are halted to the upside. Oh, so it's halted again to the upside. Check that. I was going to say this halt, but it opened back up and is now halted again to the upside, up 71%. The current tap is $20. It's halted at $18.43. This has now just gone absolutely insane. If it breaks 20, since they had the reverse split, the local high is 20. all you know what breaks loose if this gets above 20. The float is tiny because reverse split. So this is yet another name that goes reverse split, does what it's supposed to do, which is tank, catch a bid at some point, right? Like it falls, that's what you expect to have happen. It fell for like 5 days in a row, caught a bid, one piece of news that's positive, withdrawing the private placement, and now it's going ham. If it gets through 20 bucks, there's probably shorts that are crapping their pants. So this is worth watching for some kind of a ridiculous run this afternoon.
Yeah, I was going to say, time to fire up Sky Moore because Travis Kelce hyperextends his knee today. So
What?
Yeah, possibly gone for week 1.
I got Mahomes in like every league.
Yeah, Mahomes is going to find. That's what I'm saying. Fire up Sky Moore. The guy's going to throw for what he's going to.
Oh, he's going to get 300
yards.
yards
Needs to find a target. Yeah. Okay, so that's just dropping. Not only are we dropping news, hopefully we're dropping fantasy football news.
Who the heck's the backup tight end on? Is that Gray or something? Eric.
You know what? That's something that nobody knows. I feel like. Well, we'll all know it pretty soon, whatever it is. All right, I'm looking for some more trades here. I was looking at Starbucks, not much happening. Peloton's crossing view up, but again, it hasn't moved in a minute on that one. Rivian, we could have a quick. I mean, I'm still on tour. Sorry, I'm scanning through my e-signal charts here. Rivian still. I mean, nothing's really moving. Even our Tesla right now, kind of going nighty-night here. I mean, you know what? I mean, because it's kind of doing this, I'm going to, so my stop was a break through 256. Now I don't mind a retracement back into this 256 level, but if we break that 256.50 there, where the 50-period moving average is, then maybe we'll be able to bail in and around that. So I'm gonna put some bids down there at 256, like 70, something like that. And then if we do break too much below 256.50, then I think we'll try to bail, because 256 hasn't really been anything too key on this name. I saw Ozane in the chat said that there was buyers in the middle of 256. I mean, okay, if that comes through, then we'll obviously hit that. I don't know if that is the case, but that is where the 50-period moving average is. And I've used that moving average for a very long time, both on the daily and on the minute chart. So we'll see if it comes into play, it comes into play. We'll average in around there. We could check back in. I was looking through I just looked down at the sticky note and was like, okay, is there a trade that maybe we didn't have today that we wanted to look at? There is WeWork. Again, $4, that was really the level for us. NO on that one, I don't really see anything. AMC, you know, we have that short. We could have just reloaded it. My out just on AMC, we could talk about some of our outs. It was a breakthrough 50. So yeah, we get back up here. Let's reload a little bit more into the low to mid 40s. You know, we'll reload that one. I'm just trying to go through some of the plays that we have on right now. Oh, we did have Palantir on board. Unfortunately, wrong time. It broke that high of 25, and that's where we went long there. Wasn't a lot of shares because it was at 11 o'clock. It was in the middle of the day, but still, a loss is a loss, and then it came back in, and we got out pretty quickly. Once it didn't break, we got out of some shares there, probably 30, 40%. Then we held a little bit and got the rest out once it broke back through 15. So at most, it was a 10-cent hit, and on average, I think it was about 7. So definitely in there, but look what Palantir did since then. And look at this. There's the 200-period moving average again. So, you know, sometimes you look back at some of these things, and you're just like, ugh. Robinhood took off AMC.
What do you mean took off? You can't trade
Someone in the
AMC?
chat just said that.
That seems.
I don't know what that means exactly. To me, that would mean AMC would go down, because if there's most traders are using AMC and Robinhood, a lot of people trading with Robinhood and on AMC shares. So
just an update on. I actually mentioned Tisha asked a question if I was going to take the long break on DBGI. I did say, like, I looked at the setup. I said all hell can break loose if it breaks 20, but I never go long these after it's halted twice. Like, to me, once it's halted twice or 3 times, it's like look for a short or don't chase the move. Like, if you get it early, that's fine. But at this point, it's up 71% and it's already halted twice. I don't want any longs on these things unless you can get them relatively early. The risk to reward, just, to me, it doesn't favor it. It can give it all back in like 1 or 2 candles, and it becomes very risky there for DBGI. The new position for me was at UAL, but we're looking at what's going on with these chip names. And what I was mentioning Micron, but AMD, you have a chance to close above the 50 period here, which if it does close above 111, I think that's pretty bullish. 112 sets up for a break, but that Micron didn't really hold through that high. So it got to 71.15, which was a local top, kind of wicked it, and we're right back underneath. So there are some signs of a turnaround here in some of these chip names. If it fails a lower high, I mean, Micron's really slowing down in volume as well. I feel like it's probably the most insulated from this conference because everyone else is, like, we're waiting on NVIDIA, AMD's only kind of going later. This one's volume has dropped off precipitously since the run. So if I had to bet on one to fall, I would kind of lean to this one on Micron. UAL, just to give an idea what I'm looking for here, I'll get some out in front of VWAP. Short 45 with an out if it breaks 60. If we get underneath 30, that'll be 1-to-1 in front of VWAP, and I'll take some out there and then some out in front of 48. I'm not saying this goes back into the low, but the news wasn't good at the end of the day. And if the market is going to turn around here, they've got resistance and bad news and down 2.5%. Still no movement on CGC. It's like we're really just going sideways on those weed names. Maybe it's just a tomorrow thing. Like we might have to come back to those names tomorrow. And digital brands, I'll let you guys know when it opens back up. But I'm not taking a 20 long. I just feel like I can't chase a move like that. I don't know how you, like, where do you get out? Do you give it $5? Do you give it $4? You have to at least give it $1 or $2, which is a little bit too far. And I just checked for locates. It's about 10 cents a share for locates. That's reasonable now, but by the time this stock got to something that I would want to short it at 30 or 40, the price probably increases.
I mean, are you sure Amazon? Like, I'm trying to find. I mean, I guess I can put a higher offer here on Tesla in case it really does rip. You know, we stopped out of Amazon, but you know, I still feel like it's okay. It's positive. It's negative. Well, the market's positive on the day. Again, talking about the same names here. I like to get off of them. All right, so. What else? Uber. What do you guys want to talk about there? When the stock is above the line, it's often bullish. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about there, Nick. That's my bad. No, it doesn't matter. I was just reading the chat here. Let's do a quick little shout out, guys. What's up to everybody that's here today? What's up to Martin is here? What's up to Ganesh? Let's do a little bit of roll call coming through here. We are. I'm coming back on. You guys know at 4 o'clock where we have a lot of fun, and we're gonna do roll call. We're gonna talk all about that stuff. So here we go. Intel. Yeah, we could definitely look at some Intel. Yo, what's up? What's up, Aura Alpha? What's up to Mark? Here we go. Now we're starting to get going here. UEC, okay, I saw that before, Tony. We'll talk about that. AI. What's up, Mr. Long Shorts? He's here. Someone said, what's up, son? What's up, Ponzi? He's here. What's up to everybody? Saved by Grace. Hey, hopefully I can get saved by some of that as well. What's up to Kaylani's here. John Riz is up in here. Canadian Bacon's always here. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up, Daryl? Yes, my guy Daryl is in the building as well. All right, Amazon's starting to fall down, so I'll address this in a minute. Yo, Havana Woody. Yeah, I called you out a couple times. The man, the myth, the small stock legend, Havana Woody. And there it is right there. Let's go, bang. Let's do a little bit of awesome. We're just trying to get it going. Thank you so much for doing that in the chat. There it is. An amazing 90 fill here on Amazon. Wow. Hopefully we can get going to the downside. As we take a bid on Amazon, you can see here Tesla getting right back up. And you know what, man? Let's just take, this is so stupid, but let's just take 40 cents there on Tesla. Hopefully Tesla can keep going. Man, next stop 258, and let's just forget about it. Hopefully it gets back up to that level. We've just rang the register a couple times, and nothing wrong with making a little bit of this on days like this. I'm gonna be green. Well, I am green right now. All this, of course, position pending. As we go, but so far so good here today. AMC going against me a little bit right now. We have that out up near 50, so again, I don't know what that story is. There's a lot of people there go, well, you might have just been able to see, we just got a fill right there on the dark, so we've got to fill at 48s and change. Let's just see. We're back into this spot where we don't mind averaging into. I don't know what that story's all about, man, so whoever's talking about, you know, it being removed from Robinhood, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but it's definitely sparking a little bit of a rally here.
It doesn't make sense that that's good.
Yeah, I don't see that either, but here we go. We'll give back a little bit. And just so you guys know what's happening right now, if I get stopped out on a break of 53, I'm giving back 10% of my day on AMC. So That's that. That's why I'm not fearful of this trade. It's going to be a 10-cent hit or so. Before we go over, we are ready with Frank, but before we go over, Tesla 50 cents in the money. We're rocking. Any quick updates? Because I know Frank's about 10.
Well, I'm in WeWork. It's in the money a bit, but like it's not really moving. I'll get to that in a second. But I was just actually going to quickly point out on AMC here that it could be like if it were, and I don't think it's good news. But if it isn't trading on Robinhood, but were it to break out last week, like this high right here at 14.5, that kind of feels squeeze-ish to me if it were to break that top. Again, I don't think that's particularly good news, but price action is price action, and it could squeeze at that price. It reverse split and found a bottom, so there's always a chance it could squeeze higher. Let's get to the desk, because you know Frank was going to be here. He's always on time.
Yes, yeah, Frank with us on a Tuesday afternoon that's turning into a busy one here, a busy day right across the board. We get a couple anyways, secondary central bank decisions this week, one from Australia that has already happened, one coming up tomorrow from the Bank of Canada that follows what happened last week, Frank, with the GDP print on this side of the border. That was for the first time since we've been talking about this entire mess to the downside. The economy overall shrank here in this country last quarter, which I don't know, I'll get your opinion on this, but I mean, to anyone I've talked to about this, kind of indicates that the Bank of Canada really has to hold going into what is to come tomorrow. But also give us your summary here, wrap up on what happened with Australia as well, because the Aussie under a lot of pressure so far today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the global economy, Brendan, and it feels like Aussie, I mean, they're the first rate decision of many here in September, and they feel very symbolic of the fear that is being created globally, but has not yet seeped into the U.S. And yeah, I want to start with just what happened from the Reserve Bank of Australia and what we saw the after effects, because part of it is also not just the RBA, but also the global fear. But we'll get to that in a second. So this is what happens apparently here in 2023, Brendan, if you pause interest rates, not cut them, and your currency devalues relative to other global major economies, currencies like the US, which we're looking at Aussie dollar versus that US here. But this is what happens when you pause. The Reserve Bank of Australia comes out, doesn't hike, which was pretty much expected, but now everybody thinking that they might be done. And you're getting a similar feel from the Canadian side of things, and then everybody wondering what's going to happen in the Euro area and UK. But you see here just a huge 100 pip decline in the Australian dollar against USD off of this event here to kick off the week. But it's also simultaneously occurring with fear growing across the board in terms of especially Asian economies, but seeping over into Australia and the Euro area. I mean, you look at the chart of the US dollar against not only just the Australian dollar, but against the Euro, pound, and rest of the major currencies, Brendan, and that USD is surging through year-to-date highs as not only are U.S. rates higher than they are in Australia, they are in the Euro area, they are in England and Japan and everywhere else. But what you're seeing, Brendan, the start of at least, is a little bit of flight to quality on top of that relative strength from interest rates. And I think that, you know, if Australia is any indication of what might happen from the Canadian central bankers, the European central bankers, England, Japan, and so on. And if US just stays above 5%, or if they allude to going in the upward direction, you might see this continued US dollar surging. Not to mention, if you see continued downside in the Chinese economy, it seems like every bad data point out of China, Brendan, these days is worth another rally for US dollar. But how did you see this Australian event coming out ahead of, like I say, so many interest rate decisions here this month, but also teamed with what seems like global growing fear that hasn't really emanated in the US yet?
Yeah, I mean, I read that this morning and kind of went back to, as I was mentioning there, to kick things off, what happened last week here with that GDP print that was actually declined for the first time on a quarter-over-quarter basis. So, I mean, as you said, does that happen? I guess we'll find out tomorrow, obviously, but does that happen? Do we get a pause, A, and B, does that obviously negatively impact the Canadian dollar versus the USD in a similar fashion to Australia? But an interesting chart as, you zoom out a little bit as far as the Aussie versus the US. We haven't been here in a long, long time and continuing to make lows here today.
And what's really interesting as well, if you widen out this lens and take a look at not only the price action from Aussie dollar today, dropping 100 pips, rallying back, 30, 40 pips, wherever it's trading around right now, dropping, like I say, 100 pips at its low. But you zoom out, Brennan, and yeah, to your point, we are not only dropping significantly today, but the Australian dollar is through year-to-date lows as well. Now, Aussie was lower last year, but when was it lower? At the height of inflationary fear, bringing stock markets lower. You have to keep in mind that while currencies can be very uncorrelated and diversified in a lot of ways from stock markets, present a really interesting diversified angle in the trading community here. The Australian dollar can be very highly correlated to stock markets in general, very particularly highly correlated to Chinese stocks, as you're seeing not only Aussie getting it from the central bank side of things, but also from that stock market correlation side of things as well. Because yeah, you bring in this this gap that you and I have hit on a couple of times, and I keep bringing it up because it's becoming more and more divergent and out of line here. The S&P versus the Chinese large cap stock ETF FXI, the gap is now, through 20%. This is year-to-date performance diverging. These are all stocks, Brennan. Just one of them, one set of them is in China. The other set is here in the U.S. And historically, stock markets across the globe are very highly correlated, especially in, a 6-month or 12-month window like we're looking at here. And heading in opposite directions, now a gap of 20% plus here. And that orange line, it looks a lot like that Australian dollar line as well. As you see, it's not just the Reserve Bank of Australia holding rates. It's not just Chinese data coming in weaker and weaker, and all these different stories in a vacuum. They're starting to kind of come together to present this very murky global story, while U.S. interest rates, U.S. dollars, and U.S. stocks are still performing quite well, either at their highs for the year or near them. I just wonder what it takes for this global story to seep into the U.S. part of things here, because, man, even today, it feels, if you paused everything on your watch list outside of U.S. equities, everything looks real scary. But NASDAQ is around unchanged. A lot of the major U.S., some of the U.S. indexes, Brendan, are printing green on the day. So for the time being, the U.S. is, one, kind of siloed off, but two, kind of the flight to quality right now.
Yeah, it seems that way and continues that way. We even had some Fed speakers this morning going as far as saying, a soft landing is now in sight, and they don't think that any more hikes are necessary at this point, saying all the right things to, accentuate that very point. So let's look ahead then as far as what is to come on this side of things, as far as the U.S. is concerned. We get CPI coming up next week. We get, the next Fed decision just a couple weeks away now, as far as 19th and 20th is the next time we'll hear from Fed Chair Powell. Is there something maybe in between now and then that could switch the story once again? It seems to be happening almost on a day-by-day basis at this point.
It doesn't look like anything necessarily planned can really change things between now and, what essentially, in the same way I think everybody's preparing for the football season to kick off here in the U.S., I'm preparing for interest rate week, which is going to be really really kind of crazy here because, like I say, there's so much murkiness. There's so much, what is going on with these, Chinese economic data points, what's going on in Australia and everything else. How do they become clearer? Well, we listen to the central bankers that are set to speak from, I believe it's the Eurozone kicks it off in about 2 weeks from now. And then in 1 week, Brendan, we're going to have the US, UK, and Japan back to back to back. And what's really interesting to me amid all of this, and like I say, it seems like the US is really siloed off, or the US is the flight to quality almost. Amid all of this, I would have expected these odds, and you even say central bankers talking about how we're kind of near this soft landing. I would have expected the odds of another rate hike from the Fed for the remainder of this year, and that's what we're looking at here, to be near nil. And they're, at around 5% for the coming September meeting. They're not likely to hike, but odds are still around 50-50 for one more hike. And the remaining couple of meetings that they have in 2023 here, I mean, were you surprised to see this distribution after all of this global fear that's been brewing? And even as recently as, like you say, this morning, the last week, central bankers in the US saying that, hey, this inflation seems like it's not in the right direction and we're feeling good about it. The market's not necessarily buying it. Still almost 50-50 of another rate hike here this year.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be surprising, I don't think, at this point, if we were to see that even going into next year, as we've said, going out a little bit further, they're already pricing in cuts as well. So it remains to be seen. I mean, they're saying all the right things, but as you said, the market is not buying the story at this point. We saw even the 2-year taking out recent highs going back to, I was looking at it at lunchtime, back, multi-week highs on the 2-year, let alone the 10-year bouncing back to the upside today as well. Higher for longer has been the theme for as long as it seems like we've been having these conversations, but it's interesting to see that short-term period even coming into play now.
Yeah, it's almost all durations. I'm sure you saw that 10-year notes are off almost a full point today. Interest rates in the 10-year are getting back to those highs that we saw a couple of weeks ago as well. And yeah, what's really nice, it seems like that US Fed meeting is still so far away. It still kind of is. Like I say, I'm so looking forward to that week and all the price action we're going to have around it. But more often than not, the lead up to those events see some of the greatest volatility and price action. So maybe we bask a little bit in this murkiness, especially as active traders, because it seems like, I mean, if today is any indication of the volatility here in September, we're going to get a lot of action across Forex, interest rates. I mean, commodity, crude oil is hitting new highs and natural gas is mining new lows. Is crazy price action that we're seeing not yet seep over into equities. And who's to say if it comes out as being a positive for equities or a negative? Because I paint a very potentially pessimistic viewpoint, right? US dollar rallying on this flight to quality. If some Chinese data points for the next month turn around to the upside, or Canadian GDP turns around and beats to the upside, all of those things that we've seen in recent weeks unravel. And you could see, Chinese stocks, if they get lifted 5-10%, and US stocks keep that gap, that's another lift to new year-to-date highs for US equities as well. So again, just trying to enjoy the almost organic price action we're getting across all these different markets. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the interest rate decisions coming up. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about them in the near future, and the Canadian one this week, right?
Yeah, and you make a good point in that, that flight to safety conversation coming back into play a little bit across all of these, even in the equity markets. No, we're not seeing, the crazy volatility and the huge breakout and rally higher, but we're still holding at the top end of the range as far as, the overall NASDAQ, as you mentioned, specifically tech stocks. We're still holding a lot higher than I think a lot of people were expecting at this point going into September, where we do get that next CPI print and next Fed decision. So more to come. As always, Frank Caberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Brennan.
Frank is unbeaten rallying the markets at this particular point. Like the NASDAQ just broke the high of the day. I'm going to get to DGBI in a quick second, but just broke the high of the day. It is absolutely churning. We're up 0.5%. Still haven't broken the top on Meta, but I think it's a matter of time. I'm going to get it. Once we break the high on Meta, I want to have that long. Digital brands, I said I wasn't going to chase it. If you chased it and took the 20 break, if you could have even gotten filled, it did get to 23.5. It halted up and opened, like it opened underneath $18 from what I saw, and is now trying to rally back higher. So from 23 to a low of 17 to back to 21. That's nonsensical. Like, this is trading in nonsense land, and it's completely ridiculous, but this is just a function of the market. I didn't even realize this is like, it's not even like the most, this is like the second time they split in the last couple of years. So it's even smaller probably and crazier than I would have thought. So watch out for DGBI. Just don't get burned on this one. I wouldn't be chasing the long. Crazy things can happen. It could stay up here for a few days, but that's just completely ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Once again, Micron cannot seem to get past 71. I think I should just pull the trigger here. This is the one I felt like I should be shorting, and it's just sitting here with a 71 change top, a lower high, and that's pretty much the only game in town in terms of lower highs. Like AMD is still pretty strong. The conference is still going on last I checked, and NVIDIA is supposed to be talking starting now. I just feel this one is really running out of steam. If I can get like 95s to evens on the short side of it, I can stop it out before it gets to the high of the day, which is at least a little bit appealing. So pretty interesting there. Still in, of course, UAL and WeWork. CGC's popped a little bit, but that's really not that much at this point. So if it continues to go, I'll let you guys know. But I feel like Micron, the air is coming out of this one a little bit here.
All right, man. I mean, yeah, while we were gone, thank you to Frank for everything, man. Such a smart guy and great content there as we go. But I guess shout out to Charlie, shout out to Chef Joe and everybody that's, you know, cheering on a position that we have. Tesla breaking through 257. So, I mean, you know, we have a bunch of outs now. I only got 20% left, man, and I'm holding. I don't have any more offers. We got a great fill there at 75, so take that. Now you're starting to come back down. I'm going to drop this if we break through 80. I mean, it's been a great trade so far. Let's just let it keep on working, but we're already out of it, and I just don't want to. Actually, now that I talk about this, I'm just going to cancel some of these. Now we could just hold it all the way to the upside. So let's just put it out for everybody right now. 250. I mean, where's this price? I'm just going to, yeah, that's 69. All right. Why not? Let's do something Elon or someone might do. 256.69. We'll get out of the rest, right? It'll still be obviously net-wise a very, very profitable name. So there it is. Boom. So right now, yeah, that's going to be a good trade, man. We can look at DBGI and all that as much as we want, right? It's a very, very risky name, as Neil just talked about it. So a lot of you are probably in there, so just be careful. As there it goes again. Is it halted again?
Yeah. I'll just keep updating the taps in here. Like, I'm not going to trade it, but if you guys are interested, it's halted, and this time it's actually indicating a flat open, yeah, which would be the first time. It's completely, like I said, it's completely insane at this point. Congratulations if you got the long. Yeah. I will say over and over again, like anybody long at like $10, $11, $12, $13. I mean, I hope you're happy with 70% or whatever would be in the money for you, because it makes all the sense in the world to take it. So going back into normal land, finally got VWAP there on UALs. The market ticked down a little bit here, so we'll ring the register on VWAP. Again, the news. Due to a computer issue, they had to ground a bunch of flights, so that happened at about 1:15 on UAL. It then decided to put in a double top here right around the same price when the news dropped. So we're back at VWAP. If it breaks VWAP, I want it out in front of 48 as well. So we'll see what happens, man. Like NVIDIA just curled a little bit. So with that conference going on, there we go. Not much of a curl. What is going on with the... Come on, there we go. So it just curled. This is a real wick. It broke 88s and kind of coming right back in. So this is off the highs. That'll certainly help out Micron. As if NVIDIA flushes, I feel like the rest of these chip names could follow suit. I'm assuming AMD probably just backed off the highs a little bit as well. So if this breaks down, that'll look a lot even better with Micron. Just feel as if I feel safer shorting Micron than these two, but we'll see. Like if they could all easily just go up as a group as well.
All right. Yeah, it's not great. We just got 77s on Apple. I mean, it's not great. I understand that. But, you know, we shorted it. We should have just been a little more patient. We should really be short up here at 94. But the thing is like when you're taking trades, you know, you never know where the stock is going to stop. So we're short this in front of 190. You can see what our average price is right now, 81s. So in order for this to really make some money, you know, it's got to come down in here into the 70s and then hoping to get back to the 200 period. And this is just a play on the market possibly coming back in a little bit. A name that's ran up so far, we're now bouncing off this VWAP, or off the 50 period on the market. But if this market can come back in, I still like this down here in the low 70s for Apple. Again, not great. I was kind of playing off that high rate there, and then we ripped up. And obviously my stop's going to be a little bit higher than that, so all good on that one. Tesla, I told you guys, I mean, everyone in the chat likes this trade. That's great. Oh, Oxy, I know we talked about this earlier. And again, if you guys just rewind, we talked about it right here, breaking 66 earlier today, and that would be a great trade. Well, that happened, and it happened pretty early as well, right at 11 o'clock, or even earlier, sorry. Well, it kind of bounced around, but the real break was at 11, and then went straight to $67 before coming back in. So that's... Oh, right back to VWAP again. That could be something. Watch out for 66 back in there, as we'll check out what's going on with OIH. We know oil's been really ripping today there. So let's go. Still 2.5%, is that right? No, 1.3%. So you can see, you know, as Oxy fades out, so does oil back down to the downside. All right, here we go. You know, as oil goes, hopefully Tesla goes the other way. Right now, it's a nice one now. Let's wake up America. Everybody that's out there right here. This is a nice 80-cent win. As the market's pulling back, I would actually prefer the market to tank now because I have more exposure on Apple than I do on Tesla, and we're already in the money 80 cents on Tesla, but it just pulled back from 258 again. Oh, no. I don't know, Chef Joe, man, and I know I always say trade your own book, but Tesla's pulling back here as the market taking the 50-period moving average. I am going to put something up there again, man. You guys are going to bug me in the chat. I know that for sure. If this rips up and takes that out, yeah, we'll be 10% less than we are right now. So let's go on and see if there's anything going on that one. Of course, digital brands right now back to open. Now a 40-cent, 50-cent sort of an area. We had a runner last week that we talked about with Obi, and I was like, if this just keeps on going up, eventually it's going to tap down. I don't remember the name of it, but this has a very, very similar feel where it's just getting exhausted now. I mean, you know, you've already been up here before, 20 bucks. Obviously, that wick up there to 25 is pretty damn impressive. And those of us that have learned our lesson on VFS and things like that, you know, this being $92 was the high, now down to $26 4 days later with no significant material news on the company. You're going to have something very similar happen on digital brands, right? And so just be careful.
It actually has news. That's what's a little bit scarier about this one.
Yeah, no, they all have news, but I mean, to go up 100%.
It's ridiculous.
200%, 500%. Probably a little bit too extended, but hey, man.
Until they change the rules regarding floats and when you can and can't reverse split, this is just going to happen. So my suggestion is if you can scan for them early somehow, that's your play. Because the first break, like the first halt is turning into an actually pretty decent entry point for those. But you have to, it's got to be in your radar as it's going into it, right? So if you have to find, maybe you just have like a quote board that's got a bunch of names that have recently reverse split in the last couple of months, and then you check them every single day for consolidation. Because what I'm getting at, like you could pull up, let's just pull up Mullen, and we haven't even really talked about Mullen today. I was in a Mullen trade because I thought it had a chance to go. And load. Thank you, 15-minute for eventually loading. Okay, let's look at the daily chart. This will give you a better idea. Like stock reverse splits, finds some kind of a bottom. It goes all the way down here, holds 10 cents, and then triples up. Goes into a reverse split. It's now made a double bottom at 40 cents. So the way I would look at it for Mullen is I think it's still not a good company, but if it holds 40 cents for a few days and that bottom holds, you look for some kind of a parabolic move up. It's already done it once from 40 to $1 or 97 cents or whatever the heck it was. If it goes halfway again, like if this goes from 40 to 70, there's going to be a move that's capturable on this name. So you have a temporary bottom at 40 cents. I think I would look for some kind of a ridiculously insane long off of 40 and just keep taking pot shots. And I took one today. I'd probably take another one tomorrow. It's nonsensical. The float goes down. And once it catches a bid, whatever reason it needs, these things just start going. So that's the trade. Try to get it early. I wouldn't chase it. Again, this particular one, I think you shorted at $1. That's just, I mean, they have to close 10 days above $1. And the last time it got even close to $1, that day it retraced like 30 cents. You got like 95 to like 65 or something, which was complete insanity. If you can get that again, like I'm kicking myself for not having it because I should have had it that day. I was waiting for it to get to a buck, and it got to like 94, 95, and that was not close enough. It might break VWAP here on UAL, waiting for it to break VWAP, then we can start taking some more out here. This market does seem like it wants to get back into the downside. This is what I mean. I'm talking about the NASDAQ in particular. So if we get through like 15.56, you could easily extend a little bit further to the downside. I do like Micron. It's only about 8 cents in the money at best at this point. But if the market's going to roll over, I think we got a decent one. As always, if you're trading these chip names ear to the ground, they are moving just a tiny little bit. And oh yeah, we forgot all about Meta. I mean, Meta didn't actually break out the high, so obviously I'm not in the long on Meta. I should just switch gears and just short this top. Instead of waiting for it to break. The high of the day is 301.39. It's now a triple top. The next time it breaks 301, like you can still reverse into a long. I can just short it off that high because that's ridiculous. Like it's giving you like 80 cents every single time, like 3 times it's already happened. You know what? I'll go long still if it breaks out that high of the day, but I'll short it first. Like that's nuts. If we just hang out in this range, you take advantage of the range while it's there.
Yeah, we're trying to do that right now, but some of these stocks just continue. I mean, there's Tesla. We talked about it coming up here, 258, and then look at this, big time movement down. We are almost stopped out. But you know what, now that we have such a tight stop, let's just buy, well, there we go, punch some 96s in there. Let's take a little bit more there on Tesla because we do have that tighter stop down here in the 75 area, remember? So, okay, well, here it comes. Now it's really starting to bleed to the downside, and that's good for us because, like I said, my net is actually going up, although this is happening right now. Bang! So let's go right now. There it is right there. Nice little move finally for Apple, bringing back in 15 cents now in the money. It's just nice that this is finally happening. And again, we're putting on bigger size because we're getting closer to 190, right? And so when it comes down, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how could we be making money when Tesla's going down? Well, it's because we only had 20% left of this name, and we talked about that. And I said, and you know, again, this is what we're doing, man. We're working on something that we're going to be able to see if we're green or red on the position boards. But you know, share size, Apple, I told you that we're way more invested in this name than in anything else. So hopefully this can continue to come down, and that would be good. Oh, quickly, update on Tilray. So again, it came back. We're getting it out, man. Like, I don't know if Tilray is going to move, but this one is definitely worth a join or two here as it's coming back to the downside. So we did definitely clear that out. And again, on Tilray, we still have half left. So take that for what it's worth as well. Yes, sir. Let's.
Did you just say, because they just bounced off VWAP, both of them. Here.
Oh, did they? Yeah, no, did Tilray bounce off VWAP? I was looking at Apple while I was getting excited.
CGC bounced off VWAP. It just bounced off 66. That's VWAP.
Okay.
It got to 68. But if we can't get to 70
it's
again
under
today.
VWAP now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Tilray's probably under VWAP. CGC is bouncing off it. So I'm just going to take 68s every single chance I can get. Rinse and repeat, like bid 66. Get out 68, and then see what happens. Maybe it runs, maybe it doesn't at this point. WeWork is starting to roll back over. Again, another reverse split. This is day one, so I had it early, stopped out, got back in, added to it. Like I got back in at 380 and then added to it down here at 360. It's back in the 350s. Still looking for it to do a real like Hua-Dunk, like just a death candle to the downside, which just hasn't happened. But it's down 19%, which is what you'd expect. I think these are shorts until they're not, right? Which basically means it's not that I sit down and punch short every day, but it's look for a short resistance, short curls, short lower highs, like that kind of a thing. I'm looking to play a trend for the next few days on WeWork to the downside. We had just gotten into Micron here on that little breakdown. It just tagged 70.70, so halfway to VWAP there. That'll be arrows down as the futures. That's a little loud. I don't know if that's that loud for you guys. That was really loud for us. Okay, yeah, it's because we had Frank on. Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal. But the market, the NASDAQ could end up red today, which is weird because it felt like it was a guarantee. We're up 0.5%, everything was churning. Frank stops talking because he'd rallied the market to all-time highs, to daily highs, and all of a sudden we're starting to pull back. So I picked Micron. I suppose you could have picked any chip name. They're all coming back into the downside. Thankfully, the only longs we got are weed names, which they're marching to the beat of their own drum, so that should be okay. At least it feels like this should be okay. But the shorts are coming in, guys.
Oh man, we just tweeted this out, guys. Follow me at Trader TV Sean Fo Show. Right here, 400K subscribers. Let's get going. You can short strong names like Apple here. You just got to pick your spots, baby. We did it early and we did it late right now again on Apple. So there it is right now, 50+ cent. Like, this is one of those risk to rewards. And thank you for all the talk of everything that's in the chat right there. And it's just really means a lot when trades work out, and especially on trades that we've believed in on the show here. We talked about this play for Apple, and again, up to 190. You guys know we were short 84 there. Remember, I was like, I don't know if we wanted that short, but there it is. So that was about 13 to 14 cents worth of risk, and you can obviously see what is happening now to the downside of this name. So good risk to reward for sure as we start to bank it out a little bit. It's only 3 to 1. Hopefully, you can get a little bit more, but we are not getting greedy whatsoever. We are already out of 2/3 of this trade. Why? Because it came to the 200 period moving average. So we'll just continuously spin this, man. We are up here, man. We're trying to, we're trying to put some damage on the board. I mean, that's what trading's all about. Oh yeah, by the way, you want another Dollar Club member?
You guys got to turn that down.
Ramin must like the sound in there because it's loud
loud
right there. But if you're trading Boeing, then you are too celebrating, because there it is, man. Celebrate good times. We took a piece out right there at 30 on Boeing, and there it is again, just coming right back in to these lows. So now that we see that, look, man, you know what? Trading is what it is. And it's like, we can sit here and talk all about, trading big cap tech names or something like that. But when stuff sets up, I'm going to be here to trade it. And that's exactly what happened here for Boeing. Came up to 224. We identified it there, gave us a top. And this is the kind of trading that I try to do more and more for everybody here and for myself, because it's when you get levels like that is when you really want to start to bank out and make sure that you make a little bit of money when stuff like that happens. So that's what we're doing right now on Boeing as it joins the Dollar Club, but we still got to get out. So we still got to get a piece out here in order for it to really make some money. Hopefully it can come back in and fill us. The problem is the spread is kind of wide right up, and there we go. Okay, well, all we gotta do is talk about it, then it's hot dog time, as it's hot dogs on the board right now. Good trade there, Dollar Club member again for Boeing. I don't think Apple's gonna get there. Oh, we got stopped out on Tesla, like I said, still a green name. Look at this, it goes right into that level, then popping back up now. So that's too bad. It looks like we did take that last stop out there. It's funny, because if we just had to stop at 50, which I was saying initially, we would still be in this name, but that's okay. We didn't have many shares on as it's going back up, and like we said, we pay the piper with Tesla, but then, robbing the money from Apple. So that was a good one there on Apple. Obviously, wish it would still, we'll punch a little bit out there again, wishing it would go a little bit further, but we're just taking the 200 period. It's 317. Did we get that number from Brendo? I didn't
Not yet. We got 13 minutes till the early look.
Oh, the early look.
I got a shout out to Sif here because we were just talking about this. I did take another out at UAL, but you guys see that stock's going down, the market's going down, yada, yada, yada. Let's find something which, this could be spicy. This is a good look. You just said that you think this will squeeze like ADTX. Look, I don't know if it's going to squeeze or not, but this is exactly the pattern we were just talking about. Stock reverse. Stock is a complete gong show. That's a gong show. It reverse splits. It finds a bottom. It has been hanging out at about $2 with a 180 bottom for like 2 weeks now. So when you find a low like that, it tried to go already today and reversed it. If it hangs on to this 180 after a reversal like this, then what I would look for is doesn't break this 180, kind of lulls everybody to sleep, and then if it breaks out at like $3, right? Like up here, retakes that high that it tried to put in today, gets back above like $3. This would be like an all-world breakout at that 3. And at that point, you're looking for a squeeze, and suddenly the risk reward might not be that bad, because my guess is if it holds 180 today and then tomorrow it's breaking 3, you can probably put a 3 long with a 250 stop on it, and suddenly like you're thinking $5, $7. Like that's the nature of the trade. You're not really thinking, well, I'm going to take a 3 break and I'm going to hold it to 325. That's a Tilray move, right? Like you take 25 cents on Tilray. For something like this, if it does set this one up and hold on to this low and break out of this range, you're looking to make dollars. Not think about it in percentage terms. Like the dollar is completely irrelevant. Who gives a crap whether this goes $3 to $4? Right? Like you're starting to think about this in percentage terms. So if that one doubles up, that's what you're looking for. Like that's what you think about here. Some kind of a crazy, insane double up. If you get it, good on you. But that should be on the radar the next couple of days. I like that setup. Every time I see that pattern, I'll be looking to try to grab one of these a bit early. It did fail it today, but it can always make another breakout locally through 3. I just sort of sniffed out that we held VWAP here, support on UAL, and then the same thing happening with the overall market. Like it kind of pulled back in there, leveled off on the NASDAQ. The ES did pretty much the same thing, where you're coming into support on the ES. Like this is a 10 to 15 handle range, and you're slowing right down anytime you get it close to the previous support levels. Matter of fact, you're making higher lows on the ES. So when that happens, if you're short, you ring the old register a little bit, make sure you're taking profits. You know, this and Micron were the two things I like to put on for the short side of the trade. Both of them are currently working. CGC, if it breaks 68, we'll cross that bridge if we ever get to it. Very, very frustrating. I do think there's a chance that these names could squeeze, but there's not a heck of a lot going. Digital Brands was the one that if you're looking for a runner today, that was your runner, but that's already, I mean, showing signs of giving it up. I would suppose there are crazier things than a long in front of 18 here. Just understand, like this could, if it breaks $18, it could be at 15 in like 2 seconds. But it is calming down. This has now been open without a halt for at least like 30 minutes now, which is a record for it because it hasn't done that since 2 o'clock. So yeah, it's calming down a little bit. The spread's still 20 cents. If you were in a trade here and giving it to 18, that's not completely insane. I'm not chasing it up here. I still favor these shorts. Meta, I am going to short the pop if it gets back up to that high. I was only going to go long. Now I will short off that high. So I like the reload on Micron if I even get it. That's back up towards 70.90. I'll take the reload on UAL at 48.5 if we can get that one. And now Meta off the high of the day. It's like a triple top up there. If we get that shot, I think it's worth it. NVIDIA, they must not be saying anything that crazy because it's just floating around off this 488. Just don't feel all that good about shorting NVIDIA off of what is a double top if they're talking at a conference. I feel like the risk is in the other way. Like you could have one crazy stupid wick, and then if you set your stop at 88 even, and then it breaks 88 even, you don't get filled because they say something, and NVIDIA goes ham. That's why I'm trading Micron instead. I don't think it's worth the risk there in NVIDIA. Not that anything has come out. I haven't even seen a headline from that conference regarding NVIDIA, but I think the risk is not that great to sit out in front of NVIDIA. You don't want to get run over.
No, we like I said, we were doing really well on AMD until we weren't. So.
Yeah, like that Micron news. It just floated higher. It was crazy.
Yeah. Families, Nintendo Switch still doing well. Let's check out NTDOY. NTDOY there on the pink sheets, of course, just to flip it up a little bit. Yeah, this name doesn't move much. Like, I don't understand what this is like such a funny name. Nintendo, because it's an ADR, I guess it just makes a lot of the moves, during the proper, hang set in Tokyo there, the TSE, that stock market. But yeah, Nintendo kind of doing nothing. Okay, I thought I'd just look at that quickly, but no point because ain't nothing happening.
The one that was moving was Luckin.
Yeah, I know Luckin Coffee was doing, some damage. I stopped looking at it. It wasn't really moving. I'll call it up.
It's actually near the high. I just pulled it up. It's near the high of the day today.
Yeah, Tesla right now just did retake 257. Tesla is still a monster, man. Damn it. We could have had a monster win there.
Oh, it's on me. I'm just looking at Luckin. Sorry.
Yeah. It's Luckin Coffee. Yeah, they sold 2.5 million or 5.6 million cups of something. And it's an absolute alcohol-infused...
it's not just something. It's
alcohol-infused latte.
You put booze and coffee. I mean, think about it for a split second.
Yeah.
Like, you put booze and coffee together. Like, there's a quote from The Wire. Like, the line is, we selling dope and coke in Baltimore. Anybody that ain't got 500 to their name is doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's kind of... Okay, that's obviously, I'm not directly equating, but you are selling a drug. If you sell coffee, you're selling a drug. And if you add another one to it, it probably just makes you more money, doesn't it? Shout out to everyone that's saying GameStop is moving. Apparently there is something which is kind of squeezing higher. These guys report on Thursday.
GameStop is not moving.
It's up 4%.
Yeah, no, just like.
No, this is like, this is where the high was on Thursday, 1940-ish. And it's pretty darn close. They report in a couple of days. That's the only reason it's worth watching. It could squeeze through this top, but it's got to break 1940. More importantly, since since that last Huadong. If it were to break $20, there is some room till you get to the next resistance level. But yeah, in a couple of days, it gets a little bit more interesting for GameStop. It is near the high of the day. I'll give them credit. They're up 4.5%. I actually have no idea why. They're not reporting for at least a couple of days, and there was no news story. So as I said, if we get enough of a pop, I'm going to reload UAL and try the short back into VWAP again. Just rinse and repeat, man. The futures give you a bounce, and you like a short it off resistance, and bingo, bango, bongo. Got to watch out for my Micron. I will reload it, but NVIDIA is near that high of the day. If NVIDIA starts taking out tops, maybe I don't like that reload just as much.
This is why I take profits. I mean, just to talk about Boeing. I mean, Boeing went right into that bottom of the day there, and it's like just like we have top, you know, we also have bottom there. So it's like you gotta. Sometimes when that happens, that's why it's like try to holding on to stuff because, you know, no matter the shares, you know, you're always trying to get better. So maybe next time you even put on a little bit more shares until eventually you get stopped out. But yeah, that was a really good trade. Right back in there for Boeing, and now we have a very small piece left on that trade. Tilray still just puff passing it with nothing. Right now, I'm going to put another offer at 16 for Tilray, so if that does come in, I'm still pissed off about Tesla, so I'm going to forget about that. Shout out to Chef Joe and Charlie, who's in there. We have a great girl on our team, Diamond Team's named Charlie. I love that name, so I don't know if it's a boy or a girl there in the chat. Great different name. You can use either way.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't even get my daughter to watch that movie.
Oh, my kids like that movie.
Ravine's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you love candy. Gene Wilder is hilarious. I'm not talking the new Johnny Depp one. The new Johnny Depp one's creepy as all hell. Like Johnny Depp is great in a lot of things. Like I think they went a little bit too far with the remake. It's like you're not supposed to scare the crap out of the kids. I know the first one's a little scary, but Gene Wilder I thought did a better job. Sometimes you just don't need to remake a movie, I suppose, because the first one was that good. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's free money to make. It's free money because people are going to go go pay for it and they're going to watch it. Right? Yeah. I'm guilty of that crap myself.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a little talk about Charlie. Right there. Let's check out Disney. Now that we're talking about some media. Let's have a quick look at that name just for today.
What's up today?
See what we're doing here. Oh, wow. It went the other way in the afternoon. So we had talked about that too, where it was up here today. And we were waiting for maybe a 200 period pullback. That actually came through and it didn't do too much right there when that did come through. So we'll see if it does hit again. But right now, Disney making that move, trying to take out some of these lows near 81 bucks again here today. So look at this. Yeah, I guess 200 period was the other way around. Really got bounce up there at 81.80. Now it's a nice downside move. We called DraftKings the other day for a couple moves. Let's see what's happening with that one. I believe it was 29.30 and then it ripped up to 31 or 32, I think. Once it loads up there, it got to this high. Yeah, basically. So 30, 50, but now starting to fade out a little bit. DraftKings, wow, that was a nice move. And then a nice pullback. Look at the market starting to bleed here. So you know what, man? We may end the show, you know, near our highest spot today. We did miss something today, so let's do it now. All right, we have lunch money. So today, our lunch money was yours. We have what's for lunch right here. And today, if you guessed this,
Soccer.
you are right once again. You'll be wrong about 20% of the time. Today was grilled jerk chicken. I didn't have any of it. With herb steamed rice.
It smelled delicious.
Yeah, it always is around here.
It was gone fast.
Yeah, with fresh corn. So that was nice, the corn. Actually, there's still a lot left on the other side, so you can go get some if you wanted some. But anyways, that is what it is right now. Tomorrow, we'll see. But that right there was another one. It's not me barbecuing it up, although yesterday we had we had burgers last night. They were absolutely fantastic. That was what's for lunch right there. So that is what it was. I had tuna on my salad. And then Stephanie,
I think we all had tuna.
Yeah, Stephanie's not here, so I stole her tuna as well. So right there, that's it. All right.
I say that as if when you're not here, I'll steal your stuff too. So
yeah.
I don't want it to.
Yeah, we just get a dollop of tuna. So I took $2.
It's more than a dollop. It's like an ice cream scoop.
Yeah.
How much is an ice cream scoop? Like a cup, probably. I don't know why Nova.
That was not that was not a cup of tuna, but
it should be a cup.
Anyways, you got to get your protein in there, so that's what that is.
NVAX is apparently moving here. I don't know if it's just a continuation because it was already going today. It's up 12%, 13%. Check that, making some fresh highs. I'm just pulling up the daily chart for you guys so you can see. Like it's almost at resistance here. The 200 period moving average sits at 940. Lower high here on the daily 960. So it's getting into some resistance levels. It's probably too late in the day. Do we have free locates on this? Let me just double check. Oh, we do. So if it were to get to 960, if it gets to that level, I would think about shorting this move. It's that late in the day that it makes a little bit of sense. Still looking for the reload on UAL. Doesn't seem to want to get high enough for that to happen. Same thing with Micron. It's kind of holding a lower high, which is good if you're in the short, but it doesn't give you much of an opportunity to reload it. Nvidia's at that 480, man. And any take on, I don't know if we talked about AMD much. Like, yeah, all these chip names are just putting in lower highs. It's Nvidia, which is probably pressing the top a little bit more than the rest of them. CGC's above 68, so if it gets to 70, I think I just get it all out. They're not really moving all that much, and I feel like if there's a big move, one of these chip names is going to be it. I'm hoping to the downside, ideally, but I feel the chips have so much room if they were to pull back. You're right on these tops. Meta, we can stick a fork in that breakout trade. It's not happening. It's 330. If I were to get filled up at 301, it would have to move $1.50. So I'm not going to leave my offer out there. Like if it pops $1.50 in a couple of minutes, I'd probably reassess whether or not I want that short. So I just cancel my order off the high of the day because you've already made that move and pulling back in. We haven't gotten the early look yet. At least I haven't seen it for the imbalances. I'm sure it'll come in just a little bit. You guys can let me know if you already have it. If anybody already has it in the chat, I haven't seen the early look for the imbalances.
All right. Let me have a guess here. So we have, MFC's a big buy right now today. So
I'm guessing it's
Ford is a big buy here today. A lot of these are just, we're never going to get NASDAQ, so this CGC name must be old. 930. So we only get New York names on here for the early look. So, that's the floor broker. Anything that you see NASDAQ is going to be stale. So I don't really, obviously XOM is going to be, I shouldn't say obviously, but XOM is a bid right now on the play. And Verizon is up in there.
It's 489 to buy.
Okay, so
Yeah,
500
so
to buy.
light.
Roblox, again, there as a bid. Let's just check out what Roblox is doing today. Yeah, nice move up to 29 and change. Still trying to go upside. I really like this play on a swoosh down. We talked about it being 26 as the bottom here on the daily. So, if you're able to play that, there you go. You get a little bit of a cup with a handle, and now move back to the upside. So watch out for that name. And here we go again, man. We are smoking today, that's for sure, on Tilray, as it's now an amazing 7 cents back into the money. So we will do this on Tilray. Probably look to take some more out upside here. We've already been at this level before, 14s. Our best out was 13s. We'll wait. There we go. Again, we're going on a different gateway there. These J's are edge A's, so you're going to get filled on there when you put it out. Again, it's just one of those things where you have to pay for the fill, but again, it's like $2 per 1,000 shares, so you'll take that all day, every day, as there it is again, man. We'll consider this a little bit of diamond hands. Hopefully it can come back up, and then we'll get something out at VWAP, but again, we can't get blood from a stone, and if it doesn't want to go, then it just does not want to go.
And if you figure that one out, let me know.
Yeah, some people will figure it out. Jesus Cristo has figured that one out. There we go, 189.50. Again, spin it one more time because that's good, man. We'll take 35 cents right now on Apple. Apple's been a good trade here today for me. We talked about that. We're positive on Apple. We're positive on Amazon, obviously on Boeing here as we go, Tilray, Tesla. So there's been a lot of great trades. It's just you've had to be very specific and a little frugal with your outs, right? It's just, I want more, but greed is not necessarily a good thing. So we'll wait to see what happens here on this play as Apple's trying to pull back a little bit, and we'll go from there. So Tilray nicely in the money, 7 cents as well. Okay, there it goes. So Tilray's getting a little bit of volume right now.
Yeah, CGC's doing something.
Yeah, it's not much though.
It's enough to help get some out here. I'm going to get to this verb in a second.
Okay.
Believe it or not, there's another.
There goes Tesla.
There's
again.
another one. So
man.
we're about to get to 70 cents again on CGC. I reloaded it at 66. If it gets to 70, I just get out. But it's unbelievable how often this is happening. But verb is halted. It is yet another reverse split. make a consolidation bottom. It's done this a couple times. It's tried to go, like there's a couple of small moves. This is the big one. It's up 180%. This is exactly the same as all of these other low float names because of the reverse split. It hasn't broken today's high yet. It halted a bunch of times this morning. It's making a secondary push. It's halted at 201. I would tell you this is a potential break of the high of the day, but the current tap is actually for it to open down. So yes, it's breaking. Maybe you could go like 220 long if you got that gusto in you, but it's indicating it's going to open actually now at 175. So chasing these, to me, after a couple of times already halted earlier, is just a no-go. I felt the same way about digital brands, but it is making a good move. Like I said, congrats if you got it early. I just reloaded UAL. Maybe we still have enough time for one last salvo. It's right back at that local top. It's now a triple top. If we get back into VWAP, great. Otherwise, I have a nice local out here at 48.60 that we can just grab this one. UAL, the news that hit just after lunchtime, computer issue, they had to ground a bunch of flights. The stock went down like about $1.50. I'm just shorting it off the level that this all started at. WeWork, I probably have to start covering because it's in the money, but it's not moving. And NVIDIA, so NVIDIA's back up at the high. Micron's really not pushing here. So I suppose NVIDIA is bucking the trend a little bit because Micron's kind of putting in another lower high as NVIDIA seems to want to break out. So I think it's a good idea not to be shorting NVIDIA. This is way too strong. It just feels like you don't want to get in the way of this. I'm assuming it's the same thing with AMD. No, AMD's actually not moving. So completely sideways over there. Steve G, didn't American Airlines have the same problem recently? Well, I feel as if these, in the last 2 or 3 years, and I don't want to call out like every airline, but it's been more than just a couple of airlines that have had to do this over computer issues. So I don't remember exactly when this happened to AAL, but it happened to somebody else in the States as well. And then you've had some of the airports been having issues as well. Like I know Pearson had an issue. It's a bit of a mess, and it's probably a short-term thing, but if you know this industry, any of these small issues, if they linger for more than a few days, it can start to affect the quarter. That's just how it works for these airlines. So, it's the kind of thing that gets a heck of a lot worse if they can't resolve it in a couple of days. And you can maybe think about a trend down in UAL, which we didn't even talk about. I'm missing a bit of data on my daily chart here on UAL, but this has not been a great story for them. If this breaks $47, which is this gets pretty nasty. You have a bit of a flat bottom that could break down at 47 on UAL, but that's more something for tomorrow. And as I said, we're getting up to that 70-cent level. Hopefully, you can actually get this out in CGC in front of 70. But yeah, UAL, I think it's a short just based off of where it got to, on where it came from on the news. We can worry about continuation if they're still experiencing these issues come tomorrow. If they are, then hey, I would probably want to short this again tomorrow.
We also got some more on weed, but this is why I keep saying to everybody, right? It's like why I've been buying Pan W, why we talked about CrowdStrike, and join me in just a couple minutes now at 4 o'clock, and we'll talk about Zscaler and a couple other names that are coming through with earnings tonight. But on that note, CrowdStrike, right? I mean, Neil was just talking about some computer issues, and this is what's going to happen. You're going to keep getting meltdowns on systems, whether or not it be like breach at Target or breach at Walmart, and customer information has been breached, or I don't know, accounts at banks, and it sucks, but that's why I feel like you want to stay long and look at CrowdStrike. Boom, report comes out. It wasn't the greatest, but did have the nice couple days following that, and now you're right back up to highs on CRWD. And then, of course, I'm not in CrowdStrike, I'm in Pan, so you can see Palo Alto here, and this is something that I've just taken from. I've watched Jim Cramer like my whole life, and it was just literally my whole life. I remember watching with my father. I was definitely in high school.
Kudlow and Kramer, man. That was
yeah,
the show.
Exactly. So looking at that and always talking about best of breed. So I always, thought that Palo Alto was that. So we just keep on buying it. And of course, we know the split and the addition into the S&P or the NASDAQ 100 or whatever the last one was. And now you're right back to highs again. And everybody got scared. Well, not almost back to highs. Everybody got scared there on the daily when they were reporting on a Friday. And that was a nonsensical thing because they did rip up after that report. And they did actually come back to 230. So that probably could have took some more shares there, bought some more shares, but we didn't. So Pan W and that. And the name that I think it might be one of the cheapest names out there right now, just for valuation, I mean, Cisco keeps on working, man. And I mean, it's just, again, another name that they've sort of revamped already their business model into more software rather than hardware. So you could see Cisco just keeps on working to the upside as well on a much more reasonable PE than some of these other names. So if you're going to look at what Cisco's PE is, I'm just saying it's much more reasonable. I'm hoping it's still under 30 for Cisco. I mean, some of these names have gotten absolutely out of hand. Oops, see, oh, why did it just load up Zscaler? Okay, come on. Now this is not working, so we just froze this. But I feel like, how do I reload this? I don't even know if I can do that. No, trade Cisco, but anyways, okay. No, I can't get it. All right, I'll have to log in and out. So there's trade ideas right there.
I got it. You just wanted Zscaler?
No, I just wanted Cisco to see what
crap, I pull up Zscaler. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see what the PE was on it. I mean, I could find that somewhere else, but I'm gonna close my trade ideas thing. Oh, I know why.
20 times.
During lunch money, when you load it up over there, it freezes mine here.
Oh, that's my bad.
No, it's okay. But I just have to relog in. I just didn't.
I went over there and it's already logged.
No, that's
it's already logged in as you. So I'm like, whatever. I can just work with this.
Just keep it.
I'll just keep it there,
because that's fine. It's just I'll have to log out and back in. So not a trade ideas thing there. That was me. That was just frozen.
Just someone mentioned in the chat there, and there was a good question about. Now I've lost it because kind of lost that thought. But on a firm. We got to start talking about this because this move's getting a little bit out of hand. Like it's up 7 days in a row, or it's actually probably more than that. I just kind of threw that number out there. They reported, they broke out. You are now about to get to the 2023 high. Excuse me, this breaks 23. It's making a 52-week high. And above there is a lot of room to the upside. It still has a decent short float. I just feel as if there is a pullback coming, and I felt that. Look, 23 is a monster level break. Today could be the first sign it got to 22.5 and pulled back in there. I just feel as if there is a pullback coming on this stock and it's getting close to that price. You have one hump. Maybe it's like a head and shoulders setting up for tomorrow. Wasn't on my alert for list for trade ideas this morning, but it's certainly on the radar now. 23 could be a breakout long, but I'm looking for this to be a short off that level before it breaks. It's a big level on the daily. I just want to give that one a chance. Going back over to that latest nonsensical stock, it's almost hilarious here. Like it did break the high. It opens up, it broke the high, it's halted up again, that verb. So 230 with a 240 current tap, just yet another one of these reverse split, low flow type of names. And if you grab that long, if you sniffed it out, then congrats again, you found yourself another one. I do feel as if this is turning into its own gimmicky trade. This is forget about ape this and short squeeze that. The runners now are reverse split low float names. You can soak up the float. There's no shares available out there, and when it starts to go, there's just nothing for anybody to cover with. It's not an options play most of the time. It is just a straight up low float because of these reverse splits, and all you got to do is try to sniff them out early. Good on you if you got them. I got 69.5 on CGC, so I'm almost out of that. There's 8 minutes till we get to really look on the imbalances. There's an off chance that UAL could have something after that news, but I'm stopping it out locally just above this little high here. It hasn't even given me a reload out. And we talked about it this morning with potentially, obviously Airbnb is getting added at the end of in 2 weeks to the S&P 500. I want to say it's the 18th. The 18th.
It is 18, yeah.
So, maybe look out for that. You never really know. I didn't see it when I looked at the early imbalances. I don't see Airbnb on there. But if we see some buy imbalances, I think that gives you some gimmicky trades here. Like if people start throwing it into the auction and just to buy it up in advance of it, this is off the highs. That would set it up for, say a buy and bounce comes out, the high of the day is 144.20, maybe you short off of that high, it pairs off at 355 or something, and you look for a gimmick trade because you're not expecting anything until 2 weeks. So I would be playing the fade game on buy and bounces on Airbnb until then, but we'll see in about 7 minutes. If it were to come out buy side, I'd want to short off of that 144.20, just assuming that it's going to pair off.
And this is why, and of course, it will never be on the early imbalance because NASDAQ.
Oh, it's NASDAQ, that's right. Yeah, it's only New York, we get it.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Sucks.
Yeah, we only get that. So hopefully that's why that number that Brendan gives us, or it's on Financial Juicer, that early look, it's just the New York name. So when the NASDAQ is moving around, you get a big sell on NVIDIA or something, that's a $500 name. that one sell could take away everything that we're looking at on the New York because it's just such a powerful name. So, okay, here we go. Now we're a little bit more patient. We waited for 90s. Look at this. We get them out. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about how I trade different. It's like, you know, we're getting it out, scalping them out. It's too bad. Oh, Tesla's back now down to 257. So, you know, despite the move that's happening up. So you guys know where my out is, right? We break 190, so we can actually move off that right now. I just want to talk about Tesla. The market is moving up. I actually thought Tesla, when I'd look at this, would have a 258 handle on it by now. It doesn't. So watch out now. The market is, again, breathing pretty nicely here. It made that bottom, came back to the top side, now looking to get stopped out again right up here on the high of the day. But Tesla has cruised back in a little bit right now. That could be a decent bottom in there. But again, I don't want to overthink things. I don't want to go on a name that's not trending, especially into the end of the day. And why it's important that we talk about those right here, right there, these imbalances is because at 350, you know, if Apple, for example, comes out as a monster, well, Apple's going to get stopped out before then, it looks like, for an 11-cent hit. But if this comes out, you know, a big buy, then Apple's just going to shoot the heck up. So that's why we got to have our stop orders in. And just like it could come a sell, you know, you can win both ways. But that's coin flips is not something, I don't mind taking a coin flip like right now at 190. So it's either going to break and I get out, or it goes down and we make the money. But I don't like coin flipping on something where it's just that random. Like, at least now I have a stop, and it's like if it comes out a buy, this name shoots up and it's see you later. So we'll wait to see if we can get some more love here on Apple. But for right now, that's the stop, and it looks like it's going to hit sooner rather than later. So watch out for Apple. Looks like it's going to break through 190. That's fine. And then there's our out on Boeing. Really happy that we had that. We basically have nothing left as it comes back up to the upside, as we didn't take our full position by any stretch of the imagination on Boeing. But again, a nice positive name. We'll be able to buy that bottle of wine, which I'm not drinking. It's a weekday. But is it a day that ends in Y? Yeah, so okay. But tomorrow we have our first playoff game coming. So we have a little bit of a coaches session there tonight, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, Tilray making moves, not really. I'm just trying to like talk.
It was a decent bounce.
Yeah, we got some out. It's basically at the high of the afternoon. I don't know, what did CGC do?
I got out of almost, first things first, I'm getting out of VWAP on Micron. Just to quickly show you how strong Micron is. This is set up, and I know I'm short it today, but above 71 tomorrow does set up for a bit of a long. So I want to get that one out of the way. I just felt like this market didn't seem to want to break out the highs, and the chip names didn't want to go, so I played Micron in that direction. CGC, again, it just bounced up to 70 If it got there, I was going to get it all out. I was into the 65. I still think this is a potential bigger move here. And we played it that way early, but it had to turn into a scalp trade because we run out of time at the end of the day. This is what CGC is doing on the daily chart. This is 70 cents. It's a double top. I think I want to take a shot at this breaking out from here again tomorrow. We'll see what happens. It's not a guarantee that it does it, but I do like where it sits in the grand scheme of things. With 3 minutes to go until the imbalances come out there, I did have that reload in UAL. It's not really moving just now. It is starting to roll back into the downside, but I'll have to get it all out at VWAP. You're just running out of time here. What are you going to do? We have 10 minutes until the end of the day, but we have 12 minutes to the end of the day. We have a couple of minutes till the imbalances come out. Like to be getting flat or trailing out at that particular time. And WeWork just decided not to move, so it's a few cents in the money. I think we come right back and try shorting that one again, looking for the big flush at some point. Oracle AI news. I just saw someone in the chat say that, John Spruill. Oracle's having a great day today, but I didn't see anything just now on Oracle.
I'm going to cancel. I was, so first of all, Apple just came in, so we'll hit the siren alert for Apple. Join me, guys, in only now 13 minutes, because we just don't stop working. You know, that's what it is. Right now, there it is right here after the market. We got recaps. Oh, that was what it was. GitLab. Oh, we don't have the biggest one on here. That's okay. Zscaler. GitLab, Asana, and Zscaler coming after market. So stay tuned as we will go over all of that right there on the 4 o'clock show. And I have a death clock. So that show is over at 4:30, or else the system may or may not blow up. So we'll wait for that one. But there it is, man. Apple just came in. First, we took amazing 5 cents, then we got a nice 10 cents. Hopefully this can pull back down. I'm just hoping that we can withstand what's going to happen in 2 minutes. So hopefully Apple does not take 190 in the next 2 minutes. And if it does, okay, I was not able to cancel this in time because I started talking. What else is new? AI, we take that break of the high there in
C3.
AI. Yeah, C3 AI. So there it is. It's broke through right there. I had this order in there to break the top. It did that. Now we're stuck. You come over to my screen right here, Fabian, if you can. There it is right there, taking out the high of the day, C3 AI. So this name probably a little too late. I did mean to cancel it. So I'm just going to use now VWAP. I mean, that looks, well, no, sorry, VWAP's all the way down here. 50 period moving average right here, 40s. It's going to suck, honestly, to get stopped out like this fast on this name. Normally when something breaks the high like that, you want to be able to stay in it for a little bit longer. But I got to get my stop order in pronto because if we break below on this news or whatever's going to come through. By the way, Apple is trying to get to the downside. So although we have this C3 AI, we're making a little bit of cash on this Apple move. Coming back in right now. I'm going to get some more out of this C3 AI, guys.
Yeah, watch out. I mean, I just saw like the NASDAQ just pull back in. Come on, NVIDIA chart. NVIDIA just pulled back pretty decently.
Come on,
and
Apple.
I would expect, like AMD's pulling back as well. NVIDIA's starting to come to the downside. I just got filled on Micron, so that must have gotten to VWAP. But yeah, I'd be a little bit careful because I would imagine if AI was just coming, trying to break out, all these chip names just went to the downside. So I just got my out. We have 10 seconds till the imbalances come in. I'm now out of Micron. I'm only in WeWork and UAL. Still have that last reload on that. But the market is coming back in here. We'll do the average. The imbalances are coming out in a few seconds here, guys. So very quickly, I just want to make sure we get this to you guys live. MFC, you saw the early look for that. That's 4.5 to buy. Amazon, 1.5 to buy. Tesla, 800,000 to the buy side. Ford, not that big a deal, 700,000. Cisco, 700,000 to buy.
Love Cisco.
What else we have? Qualcomm, small buy. It's probably, there we go, 1.3 billion to the buy side. Google's a half a billion to buy. So is Apple. So they're all buy side, despite the fact the market just pulled back in there. Let's go to the desk. No?
I mean, I can talk about Apple.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. Guys, like absolutely.
Money,
right there. Spin it, man. I mean, like I said, we may or may not finish at our highest spot of the day, but wow. I was going to talk about AMC on a trade review, but here we go. Merry Christmas on Apple right now. You know, hopefully everybody took that short against 189. And oops, Brittany, do we have that animation yet? We do not, because we did it again right there, Fabian. So, oh, there's a legal. Oh, there's a copyright on that. Stupid Britney Spears. Okay, so we will not have that one, but for some reason we do. Okay. We're investigating this. I'm just getting stuff in my ear right now. But there it is to the downside. Yeah, she's probably, worried about other things right now. But bang, there it is right now. We're barbecuing up some profits. Let's bring the energy right now. There it is. It's a nice move to the downside. And again, this is 10 cents. The reason why I'm pretty happy about this, obviously we're making money at the end of the day. That's always positive. But it's 10 cents worth of risk. So to make 40 cents right here on this Apple trade, I mean, pretty happy with it. And we rolled the dice and won. That's, that is what it is. Sometimes, I just said that. You could get, I thought it was, what was the number again? It was downside?
It's buy side.
It was buy side. So, we actually went the other way on the imbalance and it still worked. I mean, as Neil was reading that, he was like, Amazon, this and that.
Everything's a buy.
Yeah, Amazon's a buy, like Tesla's a buy. Like, these are all going down despite being buys. So that's a little strange, but there it is. Tesla did the downside. And man, did we ever cash out here on Apple. So, once, twice, thrice, it doesn't matter. Whatever the hell rhymes. We're here to make money, and that's exactly what we're doing on this Apple trade. So again, I think this is going to be a good trade review today, but join me at 4 o'clock and we'll have some fun. Maybe I'll just tweet this out because it's looking pretty sweet, man. Again, multiple ins on Apple and the same damn result. If I kept losing and doing the same thing over and over again, a little bit of a different story, but that was a nice success trade there for me on Apple. So again, pretty good. Let's just start to empty everything out. Oh, we did empty out Tilray there at 11. So we do have a small piece left, but we got them all out. And the problem is I punched out immediately on Tilray, but I did have an offer a little bit higher. So it only punched me out of what I didn't have on offer up here. So there it is, out at the 200. We'll take another out right now. But again, another pretty successful name there, Tilray. Nice positive one for us today. Pretty happy with the way this day ended. And 69 cents in the money is Boeing. Let's get that out right now as well.
Wow, that Verb stock just broke $3. You have 6 minutes to go until the end of the day. I'm pretty much out of everything. I just took another out in UAL and another one in WeWork as well. And like I said, got all out of Micron, which is still flushing. It's the weakest of the chip names. Actually just went red on the day. So while the chips were strong in the afternoon, they gave it up in a big way there. I'll check Unity in a second, down Sky, but this Verb stock, if it does go into a halt at this point, it's not going to open until 4 o'clock. Forget about 5 or 10 minutes after 3:50. Stocks at halt open up at 4. This is another low float name doing an afternoon double up. And it's up 326%. It's nonsensical, but that's just the way the market works these days. It's just what happens. Down to Sky. I don't mind looking at Unity. We're just trying to get flat. As I said, the shorts are pretty much all out at this point. Unity is flying. Unity, what the heck? Unity is just very gently going higher and higher and higher all day long. Shout out to you. I did not notice this. It's up 4.5% today. This daily chart, thank you very much for somehow being on NASDAQ, despite the fact that I was just looking at it on New York. Super, super strong move in this. My daily doesn't even want to load now. Come on, let's go. If you look at the 15-minute here, you're absolutely flying past resistance. Watch out for $40 on this tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly the reason why this is outpacing everything at this point, but when Unity wants to squeeze, you just want to join the trend. When it did this last week, it followed that up. Like the next day, it went another like $1.20 after it put in a $3 move. So $3 move today, it still gave you a continuation the last time it did this. So I'd look for this trend to continue. I have no idea if there is specific news here to Unity, but good for them. That's one of the strongest names I've seen today. Unity Software, good for them.
Yeah, we're, oh, oops. Oh, darn it. I was looking at Market Chameleon there for the reporting of tonight, of course. And here we go, man. We are going to talk. Well, we have the earnings. We can probably call up our board, but there it is. Zscaler, GitLab coming through at the end. And there's Zscaler there. A big one, only 23 billion. So we'll look at that in just a couple of minutes. We did cash out of everything, man. So just 355 came and went. We got out of our Apple right there at 70. That was a pretty good play for us. Other than that, Tilray we got out. Fine, 8s, whatever. Our big out was at 11. That was actually really successful there. We're flat now, so what a good day it's been. We'll end the day pretty positive, not very positive. We hit our goal, but we'd like to keep upping those goals a little bit. Palantir does fall back in a little bit, so we'll have to look at that tomorrow. I think a tomorrow play, I mean, if we are going to look at Zscaler here really quickly coming through, 162, I mean, it's a relatively high name today, so we'll have to watch out for ZZ or ZS right now, taking out some of these highs. So this is pretty well ready to go tonight. So I would say they're probably going to get that beat going through today for Zscaler. So watch out for that one. Again, nice name. Did we even look at what the short float was there? Short float's only 7%. So it could be something on that. Again, internet security platform. So we it's in the right space. I like Zscaler tonight for sure. We do have a viewer. His name is Hassan. He's going to be ringing the bell for us here tonight as Brendan gets all locked and loaded. So it's always nice when we have people come through, especially fans of the show. So it'll be Hassan coming through. We're not really allowed to wear suit jackets, but he is as a guest.
That's okay, but there's no tie.
Yeah, there's no tie, so it's all good. There he is. Hey, what's up, Hassan? How's it going? Good, I'm fine too. There we go. So he's getting.
Brendan had no clue what to do there.
Yeah. So he's locked and loaded right there. So if you guys want to ring the bell as well, I mean, we're here for that. So
you just got to come to Toronto. That's all
we've had nothing. Yeah, he's got to come to 4 million people here, so hopefully he could come through. So far so good here. With only 3 minutes to go, it looks like we did a good move by getting out of Apple. So AI, by the way, we got out as soon as we got in. So we got in and out almost immediately. I didn't want to get in on that trap. I didn't want to get trapped there. So we will lose 7 cents on a third of that trade. Other than that, absolutely nothing popping off right now. We mentioned Amazon had a buy imbalance that did shoot up a little bit. We're out of the way on Amazon. Amazon is my number one. No, my number one stock is AMC, followed by Amazon today. So again, a couple great trades happening right there. With only 2 minutes to go, though, man, it's getting ready to go. So we'll see what happens here with Amazon, and GitLab's tonight as well. So should be some interesting names coming through.
Yeah, I like GitLab and Asana. Like those are very tradable names for earnings. You don't trade them any other time, but like GitLab on earnings, Asana on earnings, and obviously Zscaler, probably the biggest actual company. Although they all, anything with a 9-10% short float or 7 in the case of Zscaler is worth it. Asana's up at 9. I like that one for a potential squeeze. Verb, someone just asked in the chat, why is Verb up 300%? Low float, reverse split. So recent reverse split, and because reasons. Like the float's small, so therefore it's prime for this utter nonsense that keeps on happening over and over again. It is going to close, it looks like, about $3, up 325%. Maybe it's a day 2 play. I feel like once it's day 2, you start looking for the short opportunity at some point. With just about a minute to go, the market is actually going the opposite of that imbalance that came out to the buy side. We are flushing on the NASDAQ. That's why the short's printed. It is still a chance that we close positive. So we're up at about 0.1% here at this point. This NASDAQ is giving you that reverse. I blame the chip names. I'm telling you, if it were going to run today, it was going to be chips. NVIDIA pulled back just now off the 488 level. That gave me the win. We're able to ring the register on Micron, probably because NVIDIA gave up the top. I just felt more comfortable shorting Micron. You did have that Goldman conference that is going on for the next couple of days. Nothing NVIDIA said must have moved the needle here because it did not break that high of the day. With about 30 seconds to go, you're not going anywhere. We end the show. We're going right up to the desk for a couple of earnings plays, and then Sean will be doing the half-an-hour after show. Although we'll see what actually happens if it goes over time. I'm not even sure they'd cut it down. But we have a song on the bell. Get it off me, because it's time for the countdown here. And thank you very much. We love our viewers, especially when they come and say hi to us. You had your moment right here, Hassan. In 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. And there we go. The casino, as they say, is closed. It's been a wild one. It's been a crazy market. I will double check out of morbid curiosity. Verb is obviously at the high of the day, because where else what the heck would it be? Up that 340%. A couple of earnings plays are going to come in here. I just want to double check. Like, this stock closed at, it closed at $3. So it is going to close above that $3. Watch out for them. Every single one of these is going to come down at some point. You just play the trend as your friend. If you're taking profit, you can't go wrong. I think this is nonsensical. It's been a fun Tuesday, holiday shortened week. I want to shout out to both Obi and Sharif for doing a fantastic job on the midday show. We're going to have Max back, I think, tomorrow, so he'll be good to have him in the fold. And as always, on the ones and twos, Fabian and Ramin doing a fantastic job. Brennan bringing us the live news all day long. I'm Neil, and Sean is at the desk right now. We're ready for the after show. Let's kick it on to the desk.
All right, quick wrap up before we get going here into the recap. Here's how things end the day. It's, a bit of a choppy session. We were talking about it if you came back in at 2 o'clock with us. Negative 0.4 for the S&P. Bit of a tank into the close, the equity session close for the futures. NASDAQ stays positive, though, 0.13. So NASDAQ positive, S&P not so much. This one, very positive. That's crude oil, the chart of the futures today. Huge pop on the Saudi headline this morning. If you were with us, Saudi Arabia comes out, says they're going to maintain this production cut of 1 million barrels per day going into the end of the year, but they'll reevaluate on a month-to-month basis. That high up there was a 10-month high. For crude. We come back a long way, though. 86.75 ends up being where things end off. That's how the S&P 500 wraps up the day. Pretty red right across the entire board, as I mentioned. Overall, the S&P negative, NASDAQ just positive. Tesla 5% to the upside. Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, and Netflix making up the strength for some of the tech names. AMD 1.8, NVIDIA as well, 0.6 to the upside. A couple of key headlines from today. Again, oil prices in focus, energy stocks in focus on that huge move in the pre-market from crude on that Saudi headline. Fed's Waller, among others, coming through today, making some comments. I was suggesting to Frank, if you're with us at 2:45, go back and watch that. A lot of good stuff going into what's to come later this week and next from the Fed. But Fed's Waller saying recent data giving the Fed space before making their next rate decision, also suggesting that maybe they've done enough. Maybe they need to pause into the end of the year. We saw on that CME Fed funds tool, though, 50-50 as far as whether or not we're going to get another hike, quarter-point hike before the end of the year. So more to come on that. We'll get PMI data for the U.S. coming up tomorrow, so we'll bring that to you as it comes out in real time. So pretty impressive as far as individual names. We'll keep an eye on Tesla tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on some of these tech names that we're presenting today at this Goldman Sachs technology conference as well that's continuing throughout the week. A lot of semiconductor related headlines today. We'll see what happens going into the remainder of the week. Again, Netflix, Tesla, Microsoft, AMD among tech headliners as far as gainers today. That's how things wrapped up on a Tuesday. We'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, well, now where am I looking? Okay, now we got this ready to rock and roll. Thank you so much for joining the after show. I'm Sean Katina, and we're going to go over some earnings as they come flying through right now. So if we could put that board up there, Fabian, let's